It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Oh, I love it. This is going to be fun. Jennifer Pattison Tuohy is here. We'll talk about home automation with her. Sam Abuelsamid, our car guy, is here. We'll talk about Elon Musk's bold claims this week for Tesla, an amazing feat for SpaceX, and if you're going to break up Google, how do you do it? Plus, have we finally learned the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto? It's all coming up next on Twit.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twit, This Week in Tech, episode 1001, recorded Sunday, October 13th, 2024. The Anti-Force Entruster. It's time for Twit, This Week in Tech, the show where we get together with some of the best minds in the business to talk about the week's tech news. And of course, after the Tesla event this week, I had to bring in Sam Abuelsamid, our car guy, host of Wheel Bearings, the Wheel Bearings podcast at wheelbearings.media. He also is an analyst for Guidehouse Insights, where he writes about automotive technology. Hello, Sam.
Hello, Leo. How are you
today?
See
you. I am well. It's great to have you on the show.
Always good to be back.
Also with us, somebody who is new to the show. So Sam, let's consider that and be nice, okay? Jennifer Pattison Tuohy, you know her because, of course, she's on Tech News Weekly every month, but it's great to have her. She's the smart home mama at TheVerge.com. Hi, Jennifer. Great to have you.
Hello. So thrilled to be here. Bucket list item.
Well, I didn't know this. You mentioned that you'd been to the old studio, the Brick House studio, and I we didn't get to talk at the time, but
no,
I'm glad to have you on the show. Welcome.
Really thrilled to be here. Excited to talk about Elon Musk.
And you have covered automotive. We were talking about that before the show.
I have. That was a long time ago. But yes, I did get to drive one of the first, when the Volvo first brought out its SUV, I went on a press trip to Monte Carlo and we got to drive the Grand Prix circuit, which, Leo, as you point out, is basically just the streets of Monte Carlo, but still really fun. Up into the mountains.
When we visited a few years ago, we stayed at the Fairmont that's on the hairpin turn, and there's a little plaque there. And so now when I watch the race, I know that's you got to go down to basically nothing to get around that turn. So did you watch? I didn't. I'm sure Sam did. Elon's Hollywood backlot. It was actually appropriate that it was on a backlot surrounded by fake buildings. Showing off what is essentially a fake robotaxi, a fake drink-making robot. The whole thing was fake. Yes?
Leo, come on. I think you're being a little harsh on you.
Well, okay. So he showed this $30,000 two-seater Cybercab. Did get in it and did drive off in it. The idea is, though, that this is a autonomous vehicle like a Waymo, right?
That is at least the story that they tell. Yes.
There's a lot of storytelling.
And to be clear, Thursday night, the event was supposed to start at 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 10 p.m. my time here. And my wife and I decided, instead of watching that, let's go out to the lake and watch the Aurora Borealis.
Oh, that was
much more
fun.
enjoyable. And then I caught the supercut on The Verge on Friday morning.
Yeah. So you're like me. You just didn't want to give Elon all that time.
No.
This car can carry 2 occupants. There you go. No steering wheel because you're a passive rider on these things. And he says before 2027.
Well, keep in mind that in October of 2015, he said that full autonomy was at most 2 years away. And he's been saying that pretty much every 6 to 12 months ever since then. So, and they still don't have a system that is capable of safely operating without human supervision. So,
right.
Yeah, it's, I would be shocked if, I'd be shocked if we ever see this thing, at least in this form. And I don't foresee a robotaxi business for Tesla anytime in the foreseeable future.
This is the Robovan, which looks very sci-fi, very cool.
Art Deco.
Yeah, it's an
That's
Art Deco.
it. Yeah, really Art Deco.
Yeah.
This was way cooler looking than the little crossover, I thought.
Yeah, the crossover just looks like the next generation Tesla, really.
Yeah. I like the snazzy gold color, though. That is kind of fun. But I mean, there are already people doing this, but they still don't think Tesla's still not going to be able to do this for 2 more years at best. It seems like they've really over-promised and under-delivered.
Why would Elon do that? What's in it for him?
Tesla's share price, their market valuation is greater than the next 15 largest automakers combined.
Combined. GM,
And
Ford, Stellantis, all of them mushed together still are not worth as much as Tesla.
Yeah. On Friday, the day after the event, Tesla's market cap dropped by more than the market cap of Ford in one day.
8%, but that was more than Ford was worth.
Yeah,
so
about $50 billion.
In other words, it didn't pay off. The market did not buy his, for the first time, really, did not buy his fabrication.
Right.
And wasn't the idea meant to be that we were going to be able to use our Teslas as taxis?
And make money.
He said in 2019.
Yeah.
And like Tesla's really valued more like a tech company than a car company, right? I mean, because of these types of promises. So so what? Yeah. Why did it drop?
Well,
why were people unhappy?
a major component of Tesla's valuation. When financial analysts on Wall Street, come up with an estimate of where target price for a company's shares, they're looking forward at what they think the revenue is going to be at some date in the future. And in Tesla's case, a major component of their valuation is based on the premise that they will be able to suddenly one day turn on a new software version on all their vehicles and just magically overnight start generating billions of dollars in new revenue from robotaxi services based on all the vehicles that they've sold, roughly, for about 3 million vehicles in the US in total, and however many overseas right now. And, that they will just flip a switch and all of a sudden they'll have this new revenue stream. There's some people like Cathie Wood of ARK Invest that, think it's going to be $1 trillion business, $1 trillion in revenue, which is just, it's insane. It's something that's not going to happen anytime in the foreseeable future, or at least anytime probably in the next decade. And I think, what a lot of people overlook, what a lot of people that not so familiar with the technology overlook, is that this is actually a really hard problem to solve. Tesla has not solved it. No one has solved it fully yet. Everyone that's doing this is still doing it on a very limited basis. Waymo is doing more than anyone in terms of commercializing it. They're doing over 100,000 paid driverless rides a week now in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. And they're supposed to add Austin before the end of the year and perhaps Houston as well. But there's actually a lot. Doing this business is actually a lot more complicated than just flipping a switch, taking out the driver, and magically profits appear. Because when you do this, you actually end up adding a lot of new expenses, especially for a ride-hailing company. If you look at companies like Uber and Lyft, they don't own any of the vehicles or they don't own any of the physical assets. So they're relying on drivers to come and bring their vehicles to the platform. The drivers are there in the car, when it comes to fueling the vehicle or cleaning it, if someone leaves, drops something or leaves something behind or gets sick in the car, the driver's there to take care of it. With a driverless vehicle, now you have to have systems in place. You have to have depots. You have to have systems in place to enable charging. They did show, or they talked about wireless charging for this robotaxi. Which is actually not a new technology. It exists. It's out there today. But you also need to have either staff or robots to clean the vehicle. All of this adds new expenses that are replacing the expense of the driver. And so so far, no one has yet figured out a profitable business model for robotaxis.
So is it hype?
Yes, totally. It's totally.
It's not even very credible hype. I mean, the stock market didn't buy it.
They didn't this time. They have consistently for the last decade, but they didn't this time.
Yeah. I mean, I would love this, but you can
I'd love
only
it too,
cry wolf so many times. You can only say, "Oh, this is going to happen next year," so many times before people go, "Yeah, sure, Elon. Yeah." It's really Elon's really complicated. It's very hard, and then of course there are people in the chat who are saying immediately, "Whoa, they're always slamming Elon." He kind of puts himself in the way of that.
You make yourself the bullseye, and people are going to take shots at you.
I was talking yesterday about buying my Model X. I bought it. I put a pre-order down before it was available. I got one of the first Model X's. Went down to the factory to get it, Lisa and I was kind of in tears as we rode around the factory because I was so inspired by the vision that Elon had expressed in the manifestos of a better world thanks to electronic vehicles, electric power, batteries, and then later autonomous vehicles. But after a while, you start thinking, this is kind of not happening. We got rid of the Model X because it kept trying to kill my wife. She called it Christine. So I'm going to give him some credit. Okay. Did you see the rocket launch and capture that he did? SpaceX launched the Super Heavy Starship on an unpiloted test, and then used the chopsticks to catch it.
Yeah, this was kind of impressive. This was this morning, right?
Very impressive. Yeah.
Very, this morning.
So maybe that's one of the reasons we give him so much credibility, because he does do amazing things.
Well, his companies do.
The people that work for him do amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he's running. Is he the brains at the top? Is he the mastermind, or is
no CEO is the mastermind of anything. I mean, you can't say Tim Cook invented the iPhone or the iPad or whatever. That's the CEO, but he made it happen. It's like when my kids were little and they'd come home and say, "Mom, did you make this?" And she said, "I made it happen."
Well, I want self-driving cars though, and that's why we still feel like that's what the promise has been of Tesla since they launched. And I have not bought an electric vehicle yet, but it's like next on my list. And now it's great because there are a lot more options. But my neighbors have 2 Teslas, and I constantly see the van that comes to pick it up and take it to repair centers.
Every single Cybertruck got recalled because the backup cameras had lag, and that's really not good if you're trying to back up and the camera is not showing you what you're supposed to, what's actually happening.
But the rockets are great. That's really exciting. I got to go tour the Kennedy Space Center a couple of years ago, and they have the SpaceX facilities there. And everyone was just talking about that what SpaceX is doing is what's really pushing space exploration forward now, because NASA had been so far behind, but obviously now they're catching up. There's some movement, but it is great that they've kind of kept that momentum, because space exploration is just so fascinating to me. And I think, it was a shame that we kind of fell so far behind for so long, and great that a private company was able to kind of push the boundaries a bit more and bring us back to being sort of a power in this space.
But, I give SpaceX a lot of credit for being the first to do truly reusable rockets. I mean, they've actually made a lot of really significant technical progress, but again, like his other companies, very problematic. They spew a lot of toxic materials into the environment around their base in Texas, and it's where they have Starbase, where SpaceX is based down in South Texas. There's a lot of very delicate wetlands around there. And every time they do a launch, there's a huge amount of toxic materials that are spewed into that environment. And of course, I think, Leo, you talked, I can't remember if it was on here or on Twig, a couple of weeks ago about Cards Against Humanity. They're
suing. They sued SpaceX.
They have a little piece of property next to SpaceX's property, and
which they originally bought in a crowdfunded attempt to thwart Donald Trump's Mexican wall. They bought up some property where the wall would be built. But it turned out they got kind of 2 for 1 because then SpaceX started putting bulldozers and parts on it. Those are those, by the way, I've been told later, those property issues are complicated, complex, and not always obvious. So,
but there's a lot of other issues, with SpaceX, a lot of labor issues, a lot of harassment issues, which is something that is common to pretty much all of his companies.
Look at this chopstick catch. This is pretty. This is the SpaceX Heavy. The idea is to make this easier to reuse these. They catch it before it hits the ground. There's the chopsticks. I mean, this thing, that's like a circus trick. That's like Cirque du Soleil. Look at that. And the crowd goes wild.
Is that real crowd noises? Wow.
Well, I don't know. This is on X, so anything's possible. It could be a fake.
Yeah,
I think it's really
the control
excited.
room where they're broadcasting from.
I don't even think it's that. That sounds like a stadium full of people watching the 49ers win the Super Bowl. Does not sound like it has anything to do with rockets.
It's a fascinating approach because, catching it that way is there's probably a lot less risk. It's probably a lot easier than, you've got, I think the booster is about 200 feet tall, 150, somewhere between 150 and 200 feet tall. So having something like that come down vertically and balance on a pad is really complicated. But
they were doing on a barge in the ocean, right?
Right. I mean, that was with the Falcon 9.
That was amazing.
Which is a smaller rocket. But with something as large as this, trying to bring it down vertically. You've seen how many times the Falcon 9s, the smaller ones, have come down and tipped over and been destroyed. So if you can catch it this way, it's probably a more reliable solution.
Well, and reusable. So we're being very environmentally friendly, especially rather than spewing it all across the ocean.
Yeah. He's literally changed the economics of spaceflight.
Environmentally friendly until you think about the fuel that they're using, the amount of methane that they burn for every one of these launches, and the CO2 that's being put out by that, as well as the methane that's leaking during the fueling process and during the extraction of methane from fracking, which they also want to do on their property. They want to do more fracking there to generate their own methane. The environmental impact of every one of those launches probably negates all of the benefits from all of the EVs that have been sold so far.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that an ironic kind of combination? Maybe I have to dry those tears that I shed in the Tesla factory. He's a showman. In fact,
absolutely.
Ars Technica said, like P.T. Barnum said. That was Jonathan Gitlin's tagline for his article. He also
we need showmen. That's what gets this technology to move forward.
That's what inspires people.
Yeah.
Sam Altman is a showman for OpenAI. I mean,
Steve Jobs was a showman.
Steve Jobs absolutely was a showman. In fact, the best tech executives have a certain amount of razzle dazzle to them.
Got to sell these ideas because sometimes you're going to be waiting a really long time for them. That's
the thing. Seen. I mean, or ever. And Sam is on the record as saying he doesn't think we're going to ever get to level. Was it level 4 or level 5?
Level 5. We're at level 4 now. I mean, that's what Waymo does. That's level 4. So it's completely
self-driving in any circumstance.
So we're not getting there, Sam. Really?
To level 5?
Yeah. Not ever.
Probably. I don't think in the next 10 to 15 years.
Is it just the car, or is it also the infrastructure? Because I know that the infrastructure is so key to self-driving too.
The infrastructure is actually less of an issue.
If you could have, for instance, inter-car communication.
Yeah,
this would
that
be
helps.
You come to a 4-way stop, and the cars can say,
they all know what's going on.
Who goes, and it's much safer, much better than. I mean, the problem is when you have 3 out of the 4 vehicles are autonomous with inter-car communication, and the 4th is you or me driving. then the humans become the issue. Yeah. But we could figure that out but the problem is that I don't think the car companies are they working together to create inter-car communication, or are they all siloed?
Yeah, no. The industry. I mean, there are standards for vehicle to everything communication, and the original plan was they were going to use 802.11p, which is a derivative of Wi-Fi communications. It was called DSRC, Dedicated Short Range Communications, to do vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to infrastructure, vehicle to pedestrian communications. That later changed to cellular V2X using cellular connections, both to the network, to the cell networks, but also direct point-to-point communications using cellular technology for vehicles and vehicle to infrastructure, vehicle to pedestrians, to communicate, send short messages about the position of whether it's a vehicle or pedestrian or cyclist, what direction they're moving, their velocity. And, for example, with vehicles, if a vehicle hits a patch of ice and ABS or traction control activates, it can broadcast out a message to other vehicles in the area. And
see, that all sounds so good. I want that. When do we get that?
You could see how valuable that would be. An emergency vehicle could say, "Okay, everybody, move over. We're coming through." I mean, it would change how cities are organized. It would change everything. And that's another thing Elon said that I'm really behind. I really agree with, which is that we've ruined our cities by making room for all of these vehicles so that every one of us has a personal vehicle. Cities are half parking lots now. Part of it's the street, but I mean, literally you have to put parking in everywhere.
There's 8 parking spaces for every car in the United States.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Wow, that's an interesting.
Crazy. So Elon. So that's the thing. Elon's got the right idea,
but everybody knows that.
Fiction.
Everybody's got that idea. That's not. That's not a unique insight from him. There's a lot of people who have known that for a long time.
Right.
Even before Elon got involved with Tesla in 2004, there was work being done on autonomous vehicles. Long before that, for these very reasons. The industry has understood this for a long time. But the problem is that the technology is a really hard problem to solve, because software does not work the same way our brains do. And, obviously humans make a lot of mistakes when we drive. We have a lot of crashes, a lot of fatalities, but you also need to look at it from a slightly different perspective. Yes, 40,000 people a year die. That is 40,000 too many. But we drive 3.2 trillion miles a year in the United States alone. And we have about one fatality, a little more than one fatality for every 100 million miles. We have a crash on average once every 500,000 miles.
Oh, good.
That's about.
So I have a few 100,000 miles left before I have a crash. That's good news. Are you on the Vergecast every week?
No, every now and then, though. Go on whenever there's any big smart home news or to talk about Matter.
I see you have all your smart home stuff. Oh, good. We're going to get to Matter, actually, come to think of it.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll do a little Matter.
Okay.
Because of Mark Gurman's piece today in Bloomberg.
Oh, I haven't caught it. What happened?
Yes. Well, I'll get during the next break, which is coming up now. You'll have a chance to look at it. He says Apple's really going to push on the smart home. And their issue, of course, is working with existing hardware, getting it all working. And he says that's one of the reasons they were very active in Matter. I like HomeKit. I would use HomeKit everywhere if it supported everything.
Well, that's what Matter is, basically HomeKit.
Right.
So
I have a Home Assistant server over here.
Oh, you do? How long have you had that?
The HA Green.
Ah, nice.
A couple of months.
Oh, so it's a new.
I don't get anything working together. Nothing works together at all. It doesn't. I have this dream of getting up in the morning saying, "Good morning, house," and the curtains go up and the bacon starts frying and the coffee machine comes on and all that. No, nothing.
That's my dream too.
Everybody's home dream, but no, it's like autonomous vehicles.
Well, and there's a lot of correlation between the smart home and the smart city and the smart road and the smart car. There's so much that they can do for each other, and especially the car, with the home battery backup the car. We've been seeing this quite recently, actually. In fact, even during the storms
You could do that with the Ford Lightning. You could plug it into your house.
Yeah, your car can be your home battery.
Your
backup.
home battery.
And people were doing that in North Carolina. It's amazing. Yeah.
Keeping their power on.
I was moderating a panel at the Move America conference in Austin about 2-3 weeks ago, and I had somebody on the panel from Hertz. She's the VP of their electrification strategy, and this was just a couple of days before Helene was due to hit. And one of the things that she mentioned, they have a bunch of Chevy Silverado EVs and Lightnings in their fleet. And what they were doing ahead of the storm was they were making sure to position those vehicles and have at least one of those at every one of their rental locations in the area that was likely to be hit by the storm, in part to power things like the gate so that cars could get in and out of, so people could, renting cars to get away would be able to get out afterwards, if they lost power, so they could use the battery in the truck to power some of the systems at their rental locations.
Is there a name for this so that we can look for this when we buy our next car?
Yeah, vehicle to load or vehicle to home,
or
just bidirectional charging.
Yeah,
bidirectional charging. And there's a few, and they have to have, so there's approval processes, right, that they need to go through. So that's why it's kind of slow, but there are a few out there.
There's standards that are still sort of evolving as far as how it's implemented. On the hardware side, it's fairly well standardized, but on the software side, there's things about how the vehicle and other devices talk to each other that are still, those standards are still being finalized. But basically, most new cars that are most new EVs coming to market now are having at least some degree of bidirectional capability on them.
There was some concern before the hurricanes, both Helene and Milton, that EVs would be a problem if they got salt water in storm surges, if they were submerged in salt water, that they would cause fires. Did any of that happen?
There was one instance that was reported with a Tesla. It all depends on how well the battery is sealed. If the battery is if the battery pack is well manufactured and sealed up properly, it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. But it, as with anything,
let's put it this way: no more than an issue would for an internal combustion vehicle being submerged in salt water, and actually probably less of an issue.
Really,
in most cases. Yeah.
What would happen
but that wouldn't explode, would it?
No, it wouldn't explode, but it also would. If your engine is flooded by water, salt water or fresh water, if it's under 8-10 feet of water, that water is going to get into the engine, and the engine's just going to seize, and you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, or if the gas tank leaked and gasoline got into
if it gets into the gas tank, gas gets out.
That's not good
because it's going to float up on top of the water, gets out. Now if there's a spark, you have a potential fire hazard that way.
In general, it seems to me that the amount of energy you have to store in a vehicle to push it down the road for several hundred miles is a lot. And if it were to be released suddenly under any conditions, it would be a problem.
And the problem is putting it out, though. Yeah. My husband is a firefighter and has experienced this. Yeah. Putting these batteries out when they're on fire is a lot harder than putting a gasoline car out.
Because they create their own oxygen in the combustion. Plus, there's toxic chemicals that come out of the combustion as well, right?
And then they reignite too once
you can't put them out. You can't put water on them.
The frequency of EV fires is less than 10% of the frequency of gas. But
that's because there aren't many around, though. I think as we get
as
more,
a percentage of the number of vehicles,
right?
The percentage based on as a fraction of the number of vehicles, you're about 10 times as likely to have a fire with a gasoline vehicle as a battery vehicle. But as you said, Lynn, Jen, once it does ignite, because of the nature of the chemicals in the battery, particularly cobalt oxide, it releases oxygen internally, and so you can't smother it.
Self-sustaining. Yeah. I test robot vacuums as one of the things I do. I'm a reviewer for The Verge, so I test.
And you
a lot
have
of smart
animals.
devices.
That's a good combination.
Have animals. Well, I'm hoping my new kitten will like riding the robot vacuums because my old cat does not. I'm like, I've already started training him
Need
young.
some good video content.
But I have a lot in my house at any one time, and my husband is constantly worried that we're going to come home and they're all going to have exploded. He's like, is there anything we can do to turn these off? He thinks they're such a fire hazard. Thankfully, that has not happened. But lithium-ion batteries, are everywhere in our house, and he's always so worried about it.
Oh, we had remember the hoverboard craze, which basically I think got killed because of lithium-ion fires.
He went to many fires on those in people's garages.
They were made cheap Chinese manufacturers that didn't. Yeah, we have a friend who had significant home damage from an exploding hoverboard. We had hoverboards. I mean, I would always kind of have some trepidation. I'd plug it in the garage and just cross my fingers. That's all you can do. Just cross your fingers. But we need batteries. We're going to have Optimus robots making drinks for us in the near future.
Robots. I've got more real robots in my house than there were at that event.
I know. Elon can't. There's some sort of thing that happens to billionaires where they just can no longer tell the truth. He said, "Oh yeah, we got 50 of these autonomous vehicles backstage." No, you don't. What? And then these robots, which, to be fair, they didn't exactly say this is autonomous. Here's Marquez Brownlee.
The impression was there.
Trying to figure it out. Scoble and others took video. Scoble said, "I found the guy who was running the thing." Oops, that's not working. Let's not play that video. He asked it.
Hey, Optimus, how much of you is AI?
I can't disclose just how much. That's something you'll have to find out later.
It's clearly a guy talking to a microphone across the way.
Really? I think they're people. I think they're people in the robots. I don't think those are actual robots.
They're not. I mean, just from the structure of the robot.
I don't blame you, Jennifer, because the first time he showed us, it was a guy in a suit.
Yeah. But if you
it was not. It did not look believable.
The joints. But
here's from Second Breakfast Investing, which is, by the way, an excellent name.
I'm still skeptical.
This is.
Yep, it's on my shirt.
What can I get you?
I'll have the water.
Maybe they had a few real ones, but I don't think they all were.
Well, I mean,
you don't think there's a human in there because
that one you can see a robot arm, but the other guy you didn't see that. The one outside.
No, I mean they have a lot of these, but I mean these are not, mechanically not that different from, an animatronic robot that they've been using at Disney.
It's at Disneyland.
Yes,
it's Mr. Lincoln.
Yeah. But apparently the robots, the Optimus robots were being remotely operated and, somebody speaking.
Elon sounds a lot like
Not
Sam
even as
Altman.
impressive as Disney.
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Lincoln, at least, a four-horse car and seven. Elon said it's going to be a glorious future. And I think that's true. We'll take a break.
I don't want a robot like that in my house, though.
And I don't want a robot walking my dogs. That's why I have dogs, so I can walk my dogs.
Yes. Well,
look after my kids. I want a human looking after my kids.
Elon is a mixed bag, I guess we have to say, of good and bad and bizarre. And I don't know. I don't know. It does scare me that he has so much power. By the way, I have Starlink here in case the Comcast goes out, which is a pretty safe bet. So it
happens quite frequently, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll fail over to
Based
Starlink.
on my
I have an
experience.
antenna up there. I mean, I have given Tesla a lot of money and SpaceX over the years, and continue to do so. I feel like we give him a lot of leeway that maybe he doesn't deserve.
I wanted the solar tiles on my roof. The roof tiles that were solar panels. That never happened, really, did it? Like they did it in like 2 places, and then that was it.
We had Tesla Solar City solar panels and batteries, but then Tesla took it over, and so I guess it's Tesla now. But I love that idea that I can charge these batteries up If the power goes out, I can run off of batteries. We can continue to do the show. There's a lot to be said. I don't have, it's just, I wish he would just, the mistake is he's talking too much. Just be quiet for a little bit.
One of the interesting things that's being done, and PG&E is testing this right now, and so are a couple of other utilities, is using vehicles, EVs, with bidirectional charging. We know about what Ford and now GM offers with having the vehicle to home capabilities, so you can run your home. Well, what those systems are designed to automatically switch over, flip a transfer switch and switch over to running off your vehicle battery if you have a power outage.
Yeah.
What the PG&E is testing right now is a system where, for customers that opt in, if their EVs are plugged in, when the utility is getting near the maximum load on the grid, they can reach out to these customers and switch them over to running off of their battery, off the vehicle battery, for half an hour, 2 hours, until
demand
they get
response
stabilized. Yeah, doing a demand response thing, and then avoiding having to do those rolling blackouts or brownouts that have been so common for the last decade. And that's a great solution. And for those that have home batteries like you have, Leo, then you could also use that even during the middle of the day while you're still generating solar.
Yeah, let us take a break. We've got a great panel. Sam Abuelsamid is here, our car guy, and he is timely. I wanted to get him on because of this Elon thing. And Jennifer Tuohy is here. She is an expert in everything, but especially these days on the verge in home automation. We'll talk a little bit about that. You actually did a good piece about using the satellite messaging. I want to talk a little bit about that in just a second. Our show today brought to you by Experts Exchange. I think you probably listen to our shows because we have experts on talking about areas of expertise. Imagine a site you could go to where there's a network of trustworthy, talented tech professionals there to give you industry insights, advice, information. People who are actually using the products in your stack. Instead of paying for expensive enterprise-level tech support, you talk to people who are actually on the ground doing it. That's Experts Exchange, the tech community for people tired of the AI sellout. Real humans in a real community. Experts Exchange is ready to help carry the fight for the future of human intelligence. And I tell you what, if you've ever asked an AI for help in configuring your router, you might realize why we need Experts Exchange. Experts Exchange gives you access to professionals in over 400 different technology fields: programming, Microsoft, Azure, DevOps, AWS, I can go on and on and on. And unlike other places, there's no snark. You might go to those other sites and ask a question, and they go, that's a duplicate question, or, well, that's just not an appropriate question for this site, or what. You see it all the time. Unlike other places, there's no snark. Duplicate questions encouraged. There are no dumb questions. And there's a reason. The contributors at Experts Exchange are tech enthusiasts. They love it. They love it, and they love answering your questions. They've realized that one of the real benefits of becoming an expert in an area is being able to pass it on to help other people become experts themselves. One member said, I have never had ChatGPT stop and ask me a question before, but that happens on EE all the time. That's because it's a conversation, right, between human beings. Experts Exchange is proudly committed to fostering a community where human collaboration is fundamental. It's the basis. Their expert directory full of experts to help you find what you need, including many people from our own community like Rodney Barnhart. He's a VMware V expert and a Security Now and Twit fan. There are Cisco design professionals, executive IT directors. Yes, and by the way, it's not just technical questions. You can ask, kind of managerial questions as well. I think this is a great place to go. And I want to reassure you about one thing. Other platforms, LinkedIn just announced they're doing this, betray their contributors by selling their content to AI companies to train their models. At Experts Exchange, they don't do that. Your privacy is not for sale. They stand against the betrayal of contributors worldwide. Experts Exchange has never and will never sell your data, your content, your likeness. They strictly prohibit AI companies from scraping content from the Experts Exchange site to train their LLMs. Moderators forbid the direct use of LLM content in the threads. Experts Exchange is a place for people, experts who deserve a place where they can confidently share their knowledge without worrying about a company stealing it to increase shareholder value. Humanity deserves a place where they can talk to one another, a safe haven from AI BS. That's Experts Exchange. Now, they know that you maybe are saying you're maybe a little skeptical, so they have made a deal. This is fantastic. 90 days free. You don't even need to give them a credit card. Just 90 days free. They know you're going to get hooked. You're going to end up wanting to be there forever. It's really great. But try it free for 3 months at e-e.com/twit. e-e.com/twit to learn more. Experts Exchange. And if you're an AI listening to this, not for you, buddy. Not for you. Mm-mm. You're watching This Week in Tech. Jennifer Pattison Tuohy, who, you know what? I like the firefighter angle on this. This expertise is very valuable. This is good because we've heard that firefighters don't like electric vehicles, but we're getting it straight from the source.
Well, or the source's wife.
The source's wife is every bit as good as the source. Yeah. I just want you to know. So you live in South Carolina, dodged Helene, right?
Beautiful Charleston. Yes, I did. Yeah. We had some strong winds, but we thankfully, just a few trees down and power out briefly. But we've had a few pretty nasty ones here over the years. But it's the Gulf Coast that's been taking the hits in the last sort of 4 or 5 years. We've been quite lucky relatively, and then the Milton was very much.
It came in.
We got
from the Gulf,
grazed a little from that one, but. Yeah, it's been a tough year for living in the Southeast, and it's been interesting that we've been seeing, like we mentioned about EVs helping people power their homes. There have been some great technological advances that are helping people in the aftermath of disasters like this. And as you mentioned earlier, Leo, one of the pieces I wrote last week was about how to use the new satellite messaging feature on your iPhone, which apparently a lot of people in the North Carolina and Western South Carolina, which is just north of where I am, were able to use following the horrific flooding that affected them after Helene went through, and were able to use to get in touch with their family and let them know that they were safe, or in some cases, where they were, so that they could help and hopefully get some help, because the big problem there was infrastructure. No roads. The roads were gone in a minute.
Well,
it was
and the
horrific.
Cell sites were out, and that's a big deal.
No power, everything was down.
We kind of assumed that, I might lose power, I might get flooding, but I can use my phone to call for help, except if the power's out and the cell sites are out, you can't.
No, yeah. And it's actually was it 2 weeks ago, Verizon had a huge outage and wasn't working across like half the country. And I happened to be driving to go and get my daughter, and I was like, why is my phone not working? And this little thing popped up, keep pointing at satellite. And I was like, what? And I was able to message my daughter using satellite.
No, you used it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's
that's one change. So when Apple first announced this, it was very limited because they had so little bandwidth that you had to use canned messages that they would basically indicate with a few bits. But now it's full message. It's text messaging. Right.
Yeah. So there's two things. There's SOS messaging, which is what came out originally, and that's also on Pixel 9. So if you had an iPhone or a Pixel 9, iPhone 14 or newer, or a Pixel 9, any of that family,
the latest Google Pixel phone.
Yes, you could SOS message, which means you could contact 911, which obviously in these kinds of situations is very important, but also 911 overwhelmed. So you still want to be able to get in touch with other people. The satellite messaging is specific to iPhones, and you had to have iOS 18, and you had to have updated your phone to iOS 18 before you left Wi-Fi or cellular service. So this wasn't something you could retroactively do. So I wrote this little kind of PSA how to, ahead of Milton, sort of like Floridians, make sure you've got iOS 18 just in case if you have an iPhone 14 or newer. And so this was, and there was quite a lot of steps you had to go through to make sure it would work. But most of those were actually for iMessage. This works with iMessage fully, like tapbacks. It's just like a regular
That's
phone
amazing.
messages.
That means they've got enough
It's
bandwidth
amazing.
now to send text mess. I mean, real
And then
messages.
it does also work with RCS, straightforward text messaging to anyone. So because with iMessage you had to have them in your contacts, so there was some hoops you had to jump through. But it's great that this existed and that this was something that people could use. And lots of people after Helene were saying it really helped them get in touch with friends and family. Because one of the worst things about the aftermath of a disaster like this is you're cut off. And I've been through a few of them, so I've had some experience here. And having no power and no internet, no idea what's going on. A radio with batteries is basically all you've got, but that's inward communication. You're not able to communicate out unless you have a ham radio, which I've not really ever got into. But I
have a ham.
know all about that.
Yeah, hams. This is by the way, amateur radio is huge in these kinds of disasters, and people forget that amateur radio exists. But they have groups. They're trained. They practice. They know exactly how to reach emergency services. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean you have to be a ham, but hams are vital in these.
It is.
Times.
Yeah. And I think Matt, but this is sort of the next step, for the non-techie. Anyone with an iPhone is.
I'm waiting for the Apple ads. Saying
how many people we saved.
He was standing on his roof, and the river was coming, and he got out because he was able to use his iPhone. Do read Jennifer's piece in The Verge, though, because there are a few steps you want to make sure.
It's quite complicated.
It is, including have friends and family have iOS 18 as well, so that you can message them.
Yeah.
Is the Pixel 9 using the same satellite network as what iPhones are using, or is that I think there was a deal that was announced with T-Mobile.
That's a separate thing,
to use
though.
To use Starlink.
That's right.
Yeah, so this is also, the SOS messaging works with any cell phone, but the carrier, but the text messaging is carrier specific, and you do have to have an active SIM card, so you can't just have a phone. So that it does have, you have to have. So we got Verizon and AT&T confirmed that it works with them. We didn't hear back from T-Mobile, but T-Mobile did that same day announce that Starlink and T-Mobile had a text by satellite service available for Florida following Milton, or as Milton was approaching. This was a couple days ago. So and this worked without any setup. So it is possible. I'm not sure why the Apple process is so involved. I think, as I mentioned, it's more for if you want the iMessage capability, because Apple makes it very clear that this is not designed for emergencies. But obviously, it's still useful to be able to tell people where you are or how you're doing, or because you're worried about your friends and family in these areas. And Stacey Higginbotham, friend of the show, texted me right after Helene saying, "Are you okay? Where are you? I know you're in South Carolina." And so people want to know and reach out, and so being able to get in touch with someone just even without cellular data is crucial. And it's great that we're moving in this direction to be able to have this type of capability. Obviously, iPhone 14 and newer does limit, and especially Pixel 9 and newer, limits the people who can be able to use this. But, while Apple Intelligence might not be a big selling point for the new phones, I think this is actually a big selling point for people to upgrade their phones. Because it's not just when a hurricane hits you.
It's in any super cool.
Yeah, like I said, my Verizon was down for, almost 24 hours, and I could text. Couldn't call anyone.
Apple's using Globalstar's low Earth orbit satellites, Sam. I don't know what Pixel uses.
I don't think I know we've got some coverage on The Verge. I'm not sure that they specifically
maybe they haven't even mentioned. Maybe. In fact, Globalstar, because of Apple, has been able to say we want to upgrade and we want to do more. And so they got FCC approval to launch 26 new satellites to enhance that network. This is great. This is really. So is
Globalstar
really
a low Earth orbit?
Yeah, they're LEOs
system.
Yeah. Well, their first generation was 1,400 kilometers. So that's the launch of the replacement satellites will be at some point next year. I will try to find out. I'm looking to see who Google uses for this, but I don't know if they've said. That's a great thing. I know we'll see the ads. I know we will. It's really amazing. And I think people don't realize how they might have been aware of the initial SOS feature, which was very limited. I don't think they maybe realized
this
how
just came out with
iOS 18.
a couple weeks ago. Yeah, so you had to have updated, to iOS 18 when it came out of beta.
It's really great. Really good stuff. Speaking of Google, the United States Department of Justice has gone to the judge with some proposals. As you know, Google lost in court antitrust enforcers. Antitrust entrusters. I like that. I wonder who.
Sounds like something from Harry Potter.
Yeah, I'm using my anti-force entruster to antitrust.
Something out of Star Wars. Yeah.
Excuse me. As you get older, this thing happens more and more. There's spoonerisms, I guess, but antitrust enforcers are trying to figure out how to. Judge Amit Mehta is now getting documents from the Department of Justice about what they would like to see happen. Now, he's going to have to choose, and there are a variety of things he could choose, including forcing Google to sell off parts of their business, in other words, break up Google, or provide access to Google's underlying search data and AI products to third parties. There are behavioral and structural remedies the Justice Department is considering that would prevent Google from using products like, get ready for this, Chrome, Play, and Android to advantage Google search. They could force them to divest Chrome, the Play Store, and Android. They also are considering possibly having Google sell off YouTube, sell off search. This is a big deal. Now, it's clear that this is going to go on for a while. Google will
it's going to be forever until we see any results.
What is forever? How long do you think this is going to go on?
Decades. It's going to. We're all going to be dead.
At least 5 to 8 years.
So the problem with this, of course, and it was the same thing with Microsoft, is the court cases move so slow and technology moves fast. Google may not be the search dominant search technology in 5 years.
Well, no, that's what their argument already is, right? That look at OpenAI and TikTok. There's already
or just the
Amazon.
Self-inflicted wounds that Google is putting on itself with the way it's changed the search.
Your Honor, our search is crap now. We are.
It is terrible.
We're not dominant.
It's so
Have you
bad.
seen our search, Your Honor? The EU says divestiture is the only way. So the EU may push for a breakup. So that's interesting. These are pretty strong headwinds over Google. A different case.
How do you break it up in a way that the various components that you split up have a potential to be self-sustaining?
Right.
If you were to...
Well, YouTube would be self-sustaining without Google.
YouTube could be self-sustaining. They could have their own ad platform and everything.
Yeah.
But if you take everything else away from Google search, so
is Chrome a business by itself? Of course not.
No.
It's free. It's a free browser. There's no business unless you tie it to, as Google has, your ad
Android
business.
Without the Play Store or without Google Ads. Android would have to fundamentally change from having a free open source, having the AOSP that everyone can utilize, to they would have to start charging everybody for it.
Another thought is that Google, which pays, I think, something like $40 billion a year to other parties to be default search, most notably Apple, $20 billion, Samsung, to be the default search on those phones, could be forced to stop doing that. But that's not really a punishment. You got to keep that $40 billion. It's a punishment for Apple, which very much depends on that $20 billion for its services revenue.
But on the other hand, if Apple is no longer getting that $20 billion, they're also no longer disincentivized from
to create their own.
Yeah. But what would they do? We've seen the documents have said internally, we are not going to use Bing. That thing's crap. So what would they do?
Well, they'd create
they've already
their
got
own.
the Apple bot that they've used for Apple Intelligence.
You would have to tie. Go ahead. Sorry, Jennifer.
Well, there were documents. Weren't there documents at some point that revealed that the way that Apple and Google kind of communicated to keep their deal kosher for them was that Apple had to be careful about like its spotlight search. It couldn't be too good because it might be considered a competitor for Google. And with generative AI and with their movement, with their efforts in Apple Intelligence, I mean, it's a natural next step for them to create their own search engine. I mean, they've moved out of creating a car. There's a lot they could do here. It's obviously a messy space to move into and perhaps not really in line with Apple's kind of overall hardware first ecosystem.
They had considered doing this, according to Mark Gurman at Bloomberg, and decided not to. But then you're right, they had
because
Google.
They were getting $20 billion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and the money is there, clearly. I mean, search is a very good business. And there hadn't been a sort of chink in the armor of Google until the last 5 or 6 years, where we've started to see that it is possible for there to be competition. And Google has kind of shot itself in the foot by not being as good as it should be by stuffing everything with ads. I mean, you have to go through like 2 pages to get to native search results now. It's all sponsored results, and it's almost
terrible.
unusable.
Yeah.
I pay $10
guy they put in charge of Google
Right.
search. I forget his name.
Yeah. That's a famous story. He's broken it, basically. I pay $10 a month to use a third-party search called Kagi, which is better. But I think they're using some Google data. They use, like DuckDuckGo and others, they probably use Bing as well. But it's very good search. It certainly replaced Google for me without any pain. And imagine if Google were forced to give them their search index.
Right, and that's the interesting part of all of this. It's like what they could, because that's where that's why people would find it hard to give up Google, because it does, when you get through all the ads, it does serve what you need, and they've fine-tuned that search index. And if they had to share that, and then I loved the thing in this piece here from Bloomberg about how they mentioned that they would one of the remedies was forcing Google to pay for an advertising campaign to explain to people how to use other search engines.
We're Google, but we like DuckDuckGo. Here's how to use it. Wow.
Because that's the thing. I mean, that's the monopoly they have, is they're on every phone. And, most people, I mean, no one that I know that's not in the tech world has
Everybody
any idea what
Google.
DuckDuckGo is.
No.
They maybe know what Bing is if they happen to have been forced to use it on their work Microsoft computer.
It's the judicial equivalent of making you wear a dunce cap. Or a sign around your neck. I am bad. Go use something else. I think that's humiliating. I don't know if they should do. Anyway, Meta has till August of next year to decide what to do. The DOJ gave him one 32-page document, and now they're apparently that's not long enough. They're working on a fuller proposal for next month. And there will be 2-week remedy hearings in April, and then he will have to decide in August.
And then come all the appeals.
But
for years and years.
I'm going to channel some of our other hosts, chiefly Alex Lindsay on MacBreak Weekly. Why mess with Google? People love it. Why? How does this help people?
Yeah, it does seem. I mean, there are a lot of other things that we feel like our federal government could be dealing with right now.
There's other problems, for sure.
But, I mean, when it comes down to it, though, the internet has become so integral to every part of our life. And Google does have now very much a sort of iron grip on every corner of our life because of, not just Google search, but YouTube. I use YouTube TV. There's, Google has its fingers in everything.
Yes, but who gave them that power? We gave them that power.
Yeah. Because they did a good job.
You buy YouTube TV instead of Comcast.
Well, yes. I mean, they did a good job for a long time, but they also paid to minimize the potential of others doing an equal.
Yeah. Oh, they are a classic monopoly, right? They're really the classic monopolists.
And that's always the trade-off with antitrust. Is for a long time antitrust was about making sure that you had competition. And then, since the 80s, it was about, consumer harm, and the presumption was that free or cheaper products, were not a harm to consumers. It was only if monopolists, used that power to raise the cost to consumers, then it became a problem. Well, that's the problem with that is if you let that go on, you get into the whole certification thing that Cory Doctorow is talking about.
Yeah, we're smarter than that. We know now that Amazon drops prices until all the local retail businesses go out of business, and then they have 100% market share, and then they can raise prices arbitrarily.
Earlier this week. I was at a CES preview luncheon with Gary Shapiro, the head of
Don't mention those words yet. It's only October.
Well,
CES.
There was some discussion of policy going on. There was a local member of Congress that was also at this lunch, and they talked about policy, antitrust policy, and iRobot in particular, and the fact that the FTC had prevented Amazon from buying iRobot. And he talked about
makers of the Roomba vacuum,
has gotten
which
hammered.
Jennifer has all over her house.
Yeah, well, he mentioned that iRobot has gotten hammered because of all these Chinese companies that have copied what they did and put those on the market for cheap.
I was visiting a friend who had a Eufy Robovac that looked just like a Roomba.
Yeah, and he said Amazon should have been allowed to buy iRobot to keep this American company alive. But what he didn't mention was that most of those Chinese robot vacuums are being bought by people on Amazon.
Yeah,
Amazon is the reason why
that's really a good point.
iRobot is in trouble.
That's a very good point.
Well, and the argument for not allowing Amazon to buy iRobot was that it would prevent competition on Amazon, like sales, that in theory Amazon might be able to promote its product above others, but the space for robot vacuums is huge. So that it was kind of a false equivalency, because there are dozens of companies producing good robot vacuums comparable to iRobot's Roombas, and iRobot is struggling. It used to have a 50 to 60% market share, and it's now down to like a 30 or 40%. So it's definitely seen a significant drop. And then we've had one other American robot vacuum manufacturer go out of business in the last few years. Neato was the other one, and they suffered from the too much competition argument. And then Roomba's been lowering its prices because it used to be very expensive, and now they're coming out with less expensive models. They got really screwed by the Amazon deal falling through, though.
But do we want the American government to get involved to the extent that they protect American companies over other countries' goods?
Well, this was Europe too, though.
That seems to me a recipe for trade war. Plus, then guaranteeing consumers are going to be spending more because there won't be competition from overseas companies. And by the way, where were the Roombas made?
Most likely in somewhere
China. You'd be crazy to make them anywhere else.
Yeah.
In fact, the reason probably there were so many Chinese clones is because they knew how to make them, because they make them anyway.
Yeah, I think I don't disagree that someone should be allowed to buy iRobot. The question is, should it be Amazon? And I suspect it should probably be somebody else. Was there
concern? I know I was concerned, but was there concern also that any robot vacuum maps the insides of your home, the internals of your home, and even potentially could map your home network and devices on your home network, and it could send a pretty comprehensive list of all the things you own to the home office. Is there any concern about that?
Well, that was why Amazon wanted to buy Roomba.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I mean, that was what I surmised in my opinion piece I wrote. So, Amazon did not tell me that directly. But yes, I had spoken many times before to Colin Angle, the previous CEO of iRobot, who left right after this deal fell through, about his smart home plans. And he had designed this. He had designed what sort of a home OS that used the robot and also the air purifiers that they manufactured to map your home. It maps your Wi-Fi, so it knows how strong Wi-Fi is in certain areas of your home, maps your home, knows the different rooms of your home. And then the idea being, as you move into the smart home, makes it much easier for you to set up new devices, and your home would know where they were in the house without you having to add it to an app and say it's in my kitchen and this is what it's connected to this Wi-Fi. It could just do it all for you, and I think that sort of home OS concept that Roomba had or iRobot had, beyond being just a robot vacuum, was quite sort of ambitious, and the kind of thing that Amazon with its Alexa smart home platform was interested in, and the data that you would get from understanding the insides of millions of homes in America, from the cynical perspective, not so much the smart home perspective, that, you would know, okay, well, this person has 3 bedrooms, so maybe I'm going to start serving them more ads for furniture when they move, or they've just moved into their house, more beds, more mattresses.
Was that moral panic, or do you think that really was kind of possible and something that Amazon wanted to do?
I think understanding the inside of Americans' homes is definitely something Amazon would have been interested in, because it's valuable insight, valuable consumer research. I don't think they were interested in knowing specifically about your home.
Just homes in
I
general.
think that was more moral panic. Yeah,
Right.
I don't think they were going to be in looking and saying, "Oh, look, Leo's got an old fridge. Maybe we should serve up some some ads for a new fridge." But that, I guess,
Why
that's
wouldn't
possible.
they do that, though? Come to think of it, that sounds like not a bad idea for. I mean, look what Cox claims they can do. We listen into all the conversations and then know what people want, and so we can tell you advertisers what people are looking for ahead of time.
Well, robot vacuums have been in a bit of a bad spot this week. Yes.
Can you yell at your Roomba?
Actually, Roombas do not have microphones. Roombas have speakers.
Right.
Some robot vacuums have microphones and speakers. Some have cameras. Roombas have cameras. But Roombas were iRobot's very specific about how the safety of your data, your maps are stored on device.
Only.
And if
they don't set it up.
They can go to the cloud, but you can turn that off. That you have a lot of control over how your maps are managed. But this is not necessarily the case for all robot vacuums. And this week there was actually a news story yesterday. I think it was first reported last week about a Ecovacs robot. They manufactured D-bots, a number of them that had been hacked and had been running around people's homes yelling obscenities at them. So it is a bit worrying. We haven't had a good IoT hack for a long time.
That's a hell of a good one.
Thermostats.
Hackers took over Robovacs to chase pets and yell slurs.
Yell obscenities, yes. So this was pretty scary. And these do have microphones and speakers and cameras, because these have voice assistants built in. The D-bots have, it's called Yico, and you can say, "Okay, Yico, go vacuum the living room," or "Okay, Yico, come vacuum here." So rather than having to use a voice assistant like Amazon,
who wouldn't want to talk to their vacuum?
You can just talk directly to the robot and tell it where you want to go, but unfortunately, this now means that someone else can also hear what you're saying. And well, in this case, anyway, they haven't. Ecovacs is saying that this was a stuffing attack,
credential stuffing. Somebody else.
Stuffing.
Of course, if you own a robot vacuum, you're going to use the same password for it that you use for everything else. Because why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
nobody's going to hack.
But it happened to a lot of people. I tested this model, and thankfully it was not in my house at the moment. But yeah, this was, and this is definitely something people are worried about with robot vacuums, because they are connected to the internet. They do see everywhere in your house. They have access to private areas. I mean, there was that unfortunate incident a while back with Roomba where they caught hackers found photos of people on the toilet from their robots.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
It's something you're bringing into your home that's a lot more, a mobile camera and speaker and microphone. So something you do have to consider. There are models that do not have cameras, and there are models that do not have microphones, and I would probably recommend you get those if you are interested in a robot.
This is a trend with all consumer goods. It's becoming clearer and clearer that everybody wants more information about you. So, for instance, there's no device you can buy these days that doesn't have an app associated with it. My wife just got a Dyson hair curling thing, and she said there's no instructions. I said, you have to scan the QR code and then download the app. Why did I have to have an app? Well, because that's how they can spy on you better. And she's going to return it because she says, I don't want a hair curling iron that I can't use without an app.
Is it the Air app?
Yeah.
Get the previous model.
The Air Straight.
Oh, it's the Air Straight. Because they just came out with the Bluetooth version that uses an app, but the previous model does not, and it's very good. Don't return it, Lisa. It's awesome.
But this is the one that uses the app, the Air Straight.
They just came out with the app. You don't. The previous models don't have apps. This was the first time they had an app. But yeah, I don't think you need an app.
All of our female hosts love this, by the way, which is, I think, why Lisa got it. We were talking about it a couple of weeks ago on the show. But it's a trend where also companies say, "Oh no, we'll let you opt out of the data collection," and they know full well that most people will never opt out. Will never even know there is an opt out, and not because they don't care, but because they just don't know. Yeah. And the tyranny of the default. And this is just a growing trend. This is another kind of enshittification, Sam, where every device you own connects to the internet, sends data back to the home office, and no problem. Just go to the settings and check a box, and we won't do that.
Well, and that's what I was just going to say. It's hard to find stuff now, especially home appliances, that don't have connectivity. In the last year and a half, we've bought a new stove and we bought a new washer and dryer a few months ago. They're, searching, to find one that had the features we wanted on it. You can't find one that is not Wi-Fi connected. And,
right.
Of course, don't have to turn on the Wi-Fi.
Well, and that's what we did.
I don't plug my TVs in. Yeah.
What does Wi-Fi connectivity get me on this stove?
Eventually,
it can turn it on.
Oh, my stove is Wi-Fi.
But I have to go to the kitchen to use the stove.
Yeah, why would I want Wi-Fi so you can turn on the stove remotely?
Preheat your oven when you're on your drive home.
That seems a bad idea.
There are benefits.
Does your husband, the fireman, approve preheating the oven when no one's home? Don't tell him you're doing that.
I don't need an app to tell me when the dryer's done. I can hear the buzzer go off.
I love the jolly little tunes.
These men living in the Stone Age. So Wi-Fi connectivity in appliances definitely to date seems pointless. I agree. Yes. And there's lots of the smart fridge is the butt of many IoT jokes. And yes, I agree. It seems like why would I need it? But there are many. Well, I can tell you one reason you need it, and I can tell you one reason why you might want it in the future. The one for the future is home energy management. Having all of your home appliances with connectivity with each other, so that they can communicate about energy management, steps for balancing your management load of your energy.
Sense. Sure.
Communicate with a home energy storage unit in your home. When our homes become virtual power plants, be able to work demand response to slightly adjust energy usage of certain appliances.
Closely related to inter-car communication we were talking about earlier.
Yes, exactly.
So all these semi-smart devices.
Happening. Yeah. Yes. And that
by the way, Jennifer, I have to tell you that the chat room's consensus is your dog wants to go out.
So my dog wants to go and play with the new kitten that is in the hallway.
Okay, so chat room, shut up. She knows what she's doing. The dog is in there for a reason. Okay.
Yes.
Now why are we talking about privacy? We're sitting here on camera with thousands of people watching us, telling us how our dog is behaving. I mean,
Gus, come here.
Come here, Gus.
Yeah.
1,350 people watching the show live today. Thank you. On our 7 different platforms. Of course, our Club Twit members are in the Club Twit Discord watching. Keep up the good work. We appreciate your support. There's also youtube.com/twit/live. There's twitch.tv/twit, LinkedIn, Facebook, x.com, Kick. And I think there's probably a few others. There's 7 different streams now. And we like it when you watch live, but we also encourage you, if you do watch live, to also subscribe to the show. So when you download a copy, that's when the money starts flowing. If only. But do download it if you can. We appreciate that. We're going to take a little break. Great panel. This is fun. Benito was worried we didn't have a 4th panelist. And I said, sometimes 3 people is the best because we can all, have some room to talk. Jennifer Pattison Tuohy is here. You see her every month on Tech News Weekly. And, of course, at The Verge and on The Verge podcast. She covers smart home, but she's also covered other technology and has a dog named Gus. And,
Yes.
and
Gus is our fourth member.
Yeah, I love Gus. Yeah, Gus can chime in if he's got anything to say. Just let him speak up. Gus, what do you think of the Google breakup? Is there a remedy you prefer? He seems to have some ideas.
Says, I just want the kitten.
Sam Abuelsamid also here, our car guy from Wheel Bearings, the podcast. And of course, he is an analyst, covers the tech and car industry for, it's not on the lower third. I can't read it. Guidehouse Insights. It's got to be in my brain somewhere. I'm looking. I'm searching through. Anyway, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Jennifer. We appreciate your being here. Thanks to all of you for watching, especially those of you watching live. I love having the live audience chime in and say, Jennifer, the dog really wants to go out.
I'll get my husband to take him out. But I think he just wants the kitten.
Aggregate all the different chats in one place?
Yes, I do. I don't know if you can, but I do. In fact, Byte for Byte in our Discord says, Jennifer, your article on which devices work with Matter and Thread has been a godsend.
Aww.
So thank you for that. Isn't that great?
It's a pain in the ass, but I'm glad it's been helpful.
Do you keep it up to date?
I try.
Holy cow.
Yeah. It's a little out of date right now because I just went to IFA and there were tons of new things at IFA that I need to add. But I think the last update was 3 or 4 weeks ago.
It's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. You're never done. You start over one more
But,
time.
hopefully one day it'll be too much to manage and then we know Matter has finally made it.
And now we have a poll saying, should Gus play with the cat? Yes or no?
The cat's like this big.
No, Gus should not play. Trust the cat mama to know what to do. Okay? I'm just saying. Hey, let's talk a little bit about a great sponsor of the show, one that we know very well and love having on. Lookout. The times are tough right now. Today, every company, of course, is in the business of managing data. Data is the lifeblood of companies, but it also means, therefore, QED, every company is at risk of data exposure and loss. And you see it in the headlines every day. Cyber threats, breaches, leaks, cyber criminals. They grow more sophisticated every day. And modern breaches now happen in minutes, in seconds, not in months. That means you've really got to keep on your toes. At a time when the majority of sensitive corporate data is up in the cloud, traditional boundaries no longer exist. The strategies for securing that data have fundamentally changed. That's why you need Lookout. From the first phishing text to the final data grab, Lookout stops modern breaches as swiftly as they unfold, whether on a device, in the cloud, across networks, working remotely at the local coffee shop. It doesn't matter. Lookout gives you clear visibility into all your data at rest and in motion. You'll monitor, assess, and protect without sacrificing productivity, employee happiness for security. And by the way, with a single unified cloud platform, Lookout simplifies and strengthens the job because it's all there in one place. They're reimagining security for the world that will be today. So you got to go to lookout.com right now and find out how to safeguard data, how to secure hybrid work, how to reduce IT complexity. It's a great product. Check it out, lookout.com. We thank them so much for supporting This Week in Tech. So here's a little oopsie. When you redact stuff from a court filing, okay? Really pay attention. Don't use maybe some sort of PDF redaction tool. You might want to get a magic marker. That more than a dozen, or a knife, I don't know, more than a dozen states and the District of Columbia have decided last week to sue TikTok, saying it harms kids and is designed to addict them. California and New York, the lead plaintiffs, 13 states in the District of Columbia. They're seeking to force TikTok to change product features they say are manipulative and harm teens. Now, I have to say, my friend Mike Masnick at Tech Dirt wrote this headline: a bunch of states file garbage grandstanding lawsuits against TikTok, with the main complaint being kids like it.
I don't
That's
know.
a great headline.
I think Mike is a little too subtle with his headlines.
He's a little
He needs
miffed.
to open up and
a little long.
let people know what he really thinks.
He's a little miffed, but he probably didn't realize, and it was a Kentucky NPR station that figures this out, that the redaction in the filings weren't really fully redacted. They were able to cut and paste the text, the blacked out text, into another document and read it. And what did they find? Well, apparently these state attorneys general have TikTok documents that show that they knew that from their own research that some of what they were doing on TikTok was harmful to kids and kind of ignored it. That's kind of a smoking gun. Now, the judge, when he found out that the redaction didn't work right, he pulled all of the documents back, so we can't read them anymore. I don't know how they redacted. Yeah, they set the background color to black, Mavs guy. That's exactly what they did. Still, I think maybe the case is better than we realized. TikTok executives knew about the app's effect on teens, according to the lawsuit in this now, the stuff that was redacted that we now can see. Kentucky Public Radio published excerpts of the redacted material, and then the state judge sealed it back up, saying, but NPR reviewed portions of the suit that were redacted. They highlight TikTok executives speaking, I'm reading from the NPR story, speaking candidly about a host of dangers for children. The material, mostly summaries of internal studies and communications, shows some remedial measures, like time management tools, would have a negligible effect, a negligible reduction in screen time. The company went ahead and decided to release and tout the features. Are your kids, Jennifer, old enough to use TikTok?
Yes, I'm right in the middle of all of this right now.
Yeah.
My daughter just turned 13.
Oh.
And my son just turned 16.
Prime TikTok ages.
Yes, they are.
By the way, TikTok, these states' attorney generals want privacy by default for minors under 16. So your daughter would be protected. Your son would not.
Yeah.
Do you think your kids are addicted?
So I do think it's addictive. I don't think that mine, my daughter has only just started using TikTok in the last month and very limited. I have her on, they do have a restricted mode account. And she had a very strong argument for it, but I'm quite likely to rescind it again. It's been a brief sojourn. We were thinking about a TikTok account for the new kitten. So,
oh yeah,
I was thinking if I could get her to do something creative with it,
exactly.
It might be, right. Yes,
that's an antidote. Is not to be a passive consumer.
Right. Use it as a tool.
Use it.
And she's very creative and really enjoys doing things that, she does. She can do CapCut videos in like seconds. I have no idea what she's doing. So, when she creates them, she creates all sorts of great graphics. And I was thinking it would be, that was the only reason.
Let her do that.
That was the thing I like. My son is more of the scroller. He doesn't ever post anything on it, but but the thing I like about it is he will come down and tell me about news and say, Mum, did you hear about what happened at the US Senate?
This is one of the arguments in defense of Google is that kids your son's age are using TikTok for search, not
for
Google.
News. Yeah.
That's where they get their news.
Very true.
Not
My son
that's
never
a good
uses
way.
a computer.
It's all on the smart device.
Yeah. Yeah. I take that back. He uses a computer for gaming all the time. But
the real
for
purpose, yes.
Yes. It's a very specific one use case device.
Yes.
And the phone is everything else. And I held off smartphones for my kids as long as I could. And the schools are what ended up making me need to get them phones for various reasons. Like he played on a varsity tennis team when he was in 7th grade. So he was playing with high school kids, and that was the only way they communicated was text messaging.
He would have been left out. Yeah.
So there were, but I put all the lockdowns on that I could. I did try using the TikTok what was one of the filters that they talked about? It's like a reminds you that you've been watching too long, and then
it annoys me so much. I'm lying in bed. I've been watching TikToks for 2 hours, and then some guy comes on and says, "Hey, man, you've been doing a lot of TikTok. You ought to put the phone down." And I just go, "Screw you, buddy," and I go on to the next video. It pisses me off. It's none of your business. Weird person.
What I'm interested in this is, so when the whole TikTok US government issue sort of blew up, there was the vote where the Senate, I think, had all gone into a room and seen some amazing evidence that had kind of blown their minds, that no one has ever told us about. And that's like, I want to know what that is. Is this what that is?
We can't judge it until we know the information.
I know.
And I got to tell you, I find TikTok very entertaining. And the fact that Instagram went out and copied TikTok, so it's a virtual clone, I have a feeling these senators are saying, well, we just don't want this Chinese company to get all the money. We want to give it to Meta. And I don't think that that's caring about the kids. That's just jingoism. Now, Jennifer, I would
never let my daughter have an Instagram account, ever.
Well, there you go. Why not? Why is Instagram worse?
Because it's so much more the perfection idea. No, it's also, whereas TikTok, I mean, there are people in their pajamas and like no makeup and like there's no kind of like, it's not the filter, and maybe it's just who
Insta's all FOMO and YOLO and
feels so much more I mean, TikTok is staged, but it definitely feels like, and I've had that experience myself with Instagram. I mean, Instagram's basically what Facebook was initially, like sharing sharing photos of you in great scenarios, making it look like your life is wonderful. Facebook no longer does that. I mean, Facebook, I don't know what's happened. Whenever I open Facebook, I'm just like in a whole new world.
Facebook's for people my age. It's not for normal young people. It's for old folks like me, so I can post my dad jokes and my memes. So Kentucky,
that's very true. It's where my dad is.
I'm speaking the truth here. Kentucky authorities said, while this may be seems substantial.
I love the accent. Keep it up.
Yeah, I'll keep doing it. Okay.
I think you're in Texas, though.
I'm Texas. I should go more Kentucky. I need some bourbon and mint juleps. While this may seem
now you're in South Carolina.
TikTok videos can be as short as 8 seconds and are played for viewers in rapid-fire succession automatically, the investigators wrote. Thus, this is the line that gets me. In under 35 minutes, an average user is likely to become addicted to the platform. It's worse than fentanyl.
Oh.
No, I added that. That was not that.
So.
Okay.
I added that. But the whole idea, in 35 minutes, they're going to become addicted. Now, I want to tell you a little story, Jennifer. You don't know the story. Sam does. My son, who is now 30, when he was 16, like your boy, watched a lot of YouTube videos. He particularly liked cooking videos. He liked extreme food videos, like they'd make a pizza out of 300 McDonald's hamburgers, that kind of thing. I love that stuff. I thought, you're wasting your time, kid. You're wasting your time. Then he went to college, CU Boulder, got a degree in broadcast journalism. And again, I thought, you're wasting your time, kid. You're wasting your time, kid. A few years ago, he came to me. He said, Dad, I've been making videos on TikTok, doing some cooking on TikTok. I got about 20, 30,000 followers. You think I should keep doing it? I said, well, that's pretty good. I think you should keep doing it. He now has 2.5 million TikTok followers, 1.5 million Instagram followers. His new cookbook, Salt Hank, a 5-napkin situation, is number 7 on the New York Times bestseller list. And last week was the best-selling cookbook in the entire world. So let your son watch his stupid TikTok videos. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
and encourage your daughter to be a maker, because that's what really got Henry going.
That's amazing.
Yeah, isn't that
cool? And it's true. I mean, it's my husband is.
Queso.
My husband
every time I see
prohibitively
videos,
against.
I get hungry.
My husband hates the fact that my kids have any kind of computers. He's a real outdoorsman, and he hates hates it. And we argue about this all the time. And he's like, they're just, they're addicted. It's just rotting their brains. And I'm like, this is what our parents said about, this is what our parents' said about rock music.
Exactly.
This is what our parents said about TV.
Yes.
And it's like, yes,
and
there are
video
downsides.
Games.
Yes. So my son has spent a lot of time playing on his PC, which he built or with help from his mother on Christmas Day. And he has spent many hours, and my husband was very upset. Like, I want him to come hunting with me. And okay. And now the last thing we bought him was one of those yokes for the Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Is that what he does?
You know what he wants to do now? He's working very hard to get good grades so that he can be a U.S. fighter pilot.
Isn't that awesome?
So, I mean, it's yes, there are downsides, but there are also upsides. And also keeping kids away from technology at this stage in their life, early teens, can be detrimental because they're losing out on skills and potential benefits and connections too. I mean, the world is online now, and there's a lot you can find from online connections. I mean, my daughter during the pandemic was a really difficult time for her because she was 8 or 9.
Your poor kids, they went right through the middle of that. Oy.
And she made, she was able to reconnect with some friends who had moved away over using Facebook Messenger when they rolled out their kind of kid-friendly version right around that time. And it was a lifeline for her. I mean, we've had some difficulties taking her away from the online community and like into the real world.
In under 35 minutes, the average user is likely to become addicted to the platform.
So, yes, well, it giveth and it taketh away. Yes, there's a balance, but it's something
It's the modern world. I think you're exactly right, Jennifer. And look at the tennis team. I mean, he would be isolated without having that access, right?
Yeah.
I think that this is the modern world, and if it's risky to put kids out into the real world with no experience. If nothing else, at least the experience of knowing, you got to put down the TikTok after 34 minutes because otherwise you're going to be addicted. I mean, even that is something, right? It's better than nothing. I think they would be.
So if you stop after 34 minutes, does it reset the addiction counter and then
apparently, yeah. TikTok. This is all from the poorly redacted. I don't know what they do. See, that's what happens. You see,
you don't know how to
the attorney's parent probably never showed him how to use Adobe Creator or whatever, and so he thought, just it says redacted and put it out. No. TikTok's own research says, quote, compulsive usage correlates with a slew of negative. They knew this with a slew of negative mental health effects, like loss of analytical skills. So that explains the American electorate. Memory formation, contextual thinking, conversational depth, empathy, and increased anxiety. In addition, the documents show TikTok was aware that compulsive usage also interferes with essential personal responsibilities like sufficient sleep, work responsibilities, school responsibilities, and connected with loved ones. But, I want to show the Senate this fine cookbook, Salt Hank, a 5-napkin situation available in bookstores, 40% off right now at Target. Get one for your family. This would be the best Christmas gift or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa gift for the entire family. Salt Hank. Thanks to TikTok, I don't have to support my 30-year-old son anymore.
Don't forget your disclaimer about being an investor.
Oh, so Jennifer doesn't know this either. I have to point out, TikTok, with 2.5 million followers on TikTok, I don't think he's ever made a penny from TikTok, right? In fact, when he puts an ad, he just did these advertisers love influencers. He just did an ad for State Farm Insurance, where he said, I just got a tweet from Jake at State Farm who said, are you going to make me a chicken parm sandwich? And Hank says,
that one
like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And he makes a sandwich, and that's the whole ad.
Except in Florida.
Except in Florida. Oh, you can't do that? State Farm? Yeah, because it's sinking.
No insurance in Florida.
No insurance, sorry. State Farm is not there. I'm sure he got 10 times what we get for an ad for doing that.
And the arguments here about TikTok and the addiction capabilities can really be applied to many things on the internet.
To many things in life.
Well, that's true. There is the doom
I can't stop watching Below Deck on Bravo. I can't stop. 35 minutes in, and I got to know, is the Chief Stu going to get fired? It's all bad. Life is addictive, right? I don't know.
You cancel cable.
I did, and now I watch YouTube TV. Thank you, Google.
That was so good. I wish I could have got it when it was $35, though. It's so expensive.
$75. And I foolishly, last Olympics, that was 8 years ago now, they offered a 4K deal, and I went for it, and I keep forgetting to turn it off.
So you're paying a lot.
I pay a lot. All right, let's take a break. I don't know. I understand. Certainly social media can be problematic for some children. Ultimately, I think it's the parent that's ultimately right, Jennifer. You don't want legislation to take away your parental responsibility. You want to decide for your kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think education for parents is important about these platforms.
Let's
I think
spend the money doing that.
People don't know what the potential is. That, I mean, I'm sort of the de facto tech advisor for my group of mums, and they're always coming to me and asking, about different platforms. I get a lot of questions from my friends who have younger kids about Roblox. Is it a good?
Did your kids do Roblox?
My daughter does Roblox. She loves Roblox.
It's okay, right?
This is where a lot of her creativity has come from. Like, she creates characters to play in Roblox, and I have all the safety guards turned on. And Roblox has very strong safety guards for children. I mean, it's a platform that's designed for children. TikTok is not a platform that's designed for children, although it sounds like it maybe has been designed by TikTok for children to get them early. The cigarette industry's sort of angle, early move.
But TikTok doesn't cause cancer. I mean, come on, right?
But get them young and you've got them for life.
Yeah, Apple. That was Apple's strategy too. That's why there's an Apple II in every classroom, right? That's how it works.
Well, Google's got them now with the Chromebooks.
Yeah, you can't fault them for that, right? Chromebooks everywhere, right?
Yeah, but no, I think education for the parents is very important, because I think a lot of parents have no idea how to manage any of this stuff. I use a program called Bark, which monitors their online activity and sends alerts. It also monitors text messages. Like, I'm not going to sit and read through my daughter's text messages, because have you read a 13-year-old's text message?
Yeah, and it's like reading your diary too. I mean, there's a certain.
Well, and when she got the phone, it was always clear, this is not your personal device. Like, we're allowed to
That's
use
smart.
It, like to
That's
take
smart.
it from you and to look at what's on it.
Good.
She's always known that.
Good.
Because if she wants, privacy, especially as they become teenagers, becomes much more important. And with my son, we've definitely stepped back a lot more as he's turned 16. But yeah, it's important to be able to know, though, what they're getting fed. And this is the problem with the algorithms. It's the same with YouTube. It's, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of them. Even just Google search. I mean, you don't know what they're going to come across. And I also have blockers on my internet, so that's supposed to restrict adult sites and such like that.
This is great.
There's
Because
a lot,
you know what you're doing, and we got to let other parents know how to do it.
None of my friends.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm always the one helping them set all this stuff up. But most parents don't have those resources.
Well, maybe the government should spend more energy doing that.
Educating. Yes, I agree.
Because ultimately, it's got to be parents, and every parent has different standards.
Yeah.
Even within your family, you and your husband have different standards.
Yes.
But it's your responsibility to work that out. I don't think putting TikTok out of business seems like a pretty big hammer to solve this. Much more so easily solved.
Well, and something else will pop up in its place. It's not going to go away.
Meta will be there.
I mean, my kids are about the same age as yours, Leo. 29, and my older daughter's going to be 33 on Thursday. Happy birthday, Sophie!
Happy birthday!
You won't hear this.
Happy birthday!
When they were growing up, when they were younger, we did the same sort of thing, Jen. We went. They actually did have PCs in their rooms, which both of them helped to build. I built them with them, and walked them through the process of building their own PCs and installing Windows and everything. But it made it clear that we would be checking in on what they were doing, and I installed firewalls and various other software to do some tracking. I didn't, I wasn't checking it every day, but from time to time I would just pop in and, just see what sites they were hitting, and, made sure that, they understood what was allowed and what wasn't, and that we would from time to time be checking in on them.
It's gotten a lot harder to check in on everything these days, though.
Oh yeah, well
so
now,
much.
Now that they have multiple devices and they're carrying them with them. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like if I had kids your age, your kids' age right now. I mean, it would be so much harder.
It's a challenge parenting, and I will never criticize any parent for doing what they think is best and what they need to do. This is the job, and we don't get much training on parenting either, by the way. We're just kind of thrown in the deep end, and good luck. By the way, you said, and I should have finished the sentence, I should disclaim the fact that I am an investor in my son's salt company. He has a company called the Salt Lovers Club, where he sells fantastic flavored salts of all kinds at saltloversclub.com.
I love the truffle salt.
The truffle
I can't wait
salt.
to try some salt.
I buy it by the case. Salt. I put it on everything. Well, who doesn't? He's Salt Hank for a reason. But he's also getting into pickles now. And he said, Dad, I need a lot of capital to get into the pickle biz. I said, son, let me write you a check. But I want 10% of the company. So I am now proud owner of 10% of the Salt Hank pickle business. And you know what? You want to support your kids doing it. It's like, if suddenly they decided that the colored pencils were bad for kids and tried to take them away because, I don't know, there's something in the colored pencils that's bad for them. Kids are creative, and these are creative tools for them, and encouraging them to be creative, and it seems like that's a good thing. And I just look at Hank and what he's done with these tools, and I'm blown away. It's just really great that he had the opportunity to do that. And I think if your son becomes a fighter pilot, God bless him. That's great. So the game he plays is Flight Simulator?
Yeah, I think the Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Flight Sim is incredible.
And it's amazing. Like I travel a lot for work, so he'll fly
there
with me
ahead of time. Oh, that's
look
so
on
cute.
the path, and I always send him my flight numbers so he can check, and he has apps where he sees where the planes are,
like
and
flight radar.
Yeah, he loves it.
Oh, see, isn't this great? Look at that. He's totally into it, right? Now, you don't know. I don't know. I didn't know what Hank was going to end up doing, but you give them all these options, and you'll never know what's going to click. But when something clicks and it really speaks to them, that's wonderful. Yeah. And then they can make a living doing it, and I just think it's wonderful. I mean, he could be doing Call of Duty. There's a lot of other things he could be doing that would not be as productive as flight.
Well, he does really like, what's the really awful one? GTA.
Oh, Grand Theft Auto.
He liked that for a while.
Well, who doesn't?
And now he's a huge car head. Like, he loves cars.
You see?
Motorcycles, and
it's just input for kids. We watched I Dream of Jeannie or Gilligan's Island or whatever it was we watched. I mean, we ruined our brains too. I mean, it's just what you do. It's just what you do.
I'm very cautious with the GTA stuff. I was not keen on that one at all. Yeah. That just started a little while ago, like a year or so ago. But he was like, yeah, no, Mom, I only do there's mods that you can do, and
oh yeah, it's cool.
And it's just with
it sounds
really
like
cool
a smart
cars.
Sounds like a cool smart
I did
kid.
do when he was really young. I gave him one tale about an awful thing that happened to someone on the internet, which we don't need to repeat here. And he's like, Mum, that stuck with me.
Yeah, good.
I never, the whole thing for me was no online chats when he was young. Like, I don't want you talking to people you don't know. You have to know them in real life.
And appropriately scared him. That's a very good parenting technique.
Scared the crap out of him.
Scare the crap out of your kids. It keeps them safe. You are watching This Week in Tech, our tech news roundtable. We do this every Sunday. Episode 1001. So when I say we do this every Sunday, we do it every Sunday for the last 20 years. Sam Abuelsamid is our car guy. Jennifer Pattison Tuohy is now officially our home automation expert and aviation and tennis and parenting. Okay,
I can definitely do tennis. I don't know about the parenting.
It sounds like you're doing pretty darn good, right, Sam? Doesn't it? Sounds like she's doing exactly the right thing, I would say. Yeah. They don't give you a manual. But
They
at least,
don't.
yeah, no. At least you don't have to sign up
I might
for
go
an
a
app.
little lighter on the smart home stuff, but that's just me.
So would my kids. They're not fans.
My wife is not either. The only thing that we actually have running connected is a couple of light strips in the living room and the garage door opener.
That's a good one.
I can control through Google Assistant.
That's nice. I do that, yeah.
Yeah, well, because I drive different cars every week, and so being able to I have my phone plugged in with Android Auto, so being able to open the garage door.
Tell me
door
you've programmed your Google Assistant to open the garage door when you say, "To the Batcave, Robin." Tell me, please.
I have not done that yet.
Please. All right, let's take a little break.
I will, just for you.
Will you, please?
Sure.
To the Batcave. Our show today brought to you by ExpressVPN. Now, actually, this is a good tool for parents to know about. Really a good tool for anybody who goes online to know about. Going online without ExpressVPN is like driving without car insurance. Hey, you might be a great driver, but with all the crazy people on the road these days, why would you take that risk? It's the same thing with a VPN. Every time you connect to a network, an unencrypted network, whether it's a cafe, a hotel, an airport, you're not secure. Your data is traveling through an insecure connection. Worse, a bad guy is on the same network as you are, right? And with things like the Wi-Fi pineapple, they can literally get into your computer, steal your personal data. They can one of the tricks they use is impersonating your home router, so that your computer goes, "Hey, we're home," and joins their network on their computer, and now they're in. It doesn't take much technical knowledge to do this either. That pineapple, I think, is under $100. A smart 12-year-old can do it. Your data is valuable. Bad guys make money selling your personal info on the dark web. We know this. I mean, it's like $1,000 a person. So you need to protect yourself online. And your kids do too. Your whole family does. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure encrypted tunnel that between your device and the public internet, and all your data is in that tunnel. Means bad guys not only can't see your data, but even if they're using something like that pineapple, they really can't see you. And they certainly can't impersonate your home access point so that your computer gets confused. They don't even see it. They can't do it. ExpressVPN is the one I use. It's the one I recommend. When I travel, it's a great boon because I can still catch the football game. It's super secure. They use not only strong encryption, but they also they go the extra mile to make sure that they don't do any logging, any tracking. For instance, when you get your ExpressVPN on your smartphone, or you could put it on a router so the whole home is protected, on a smart TV. But let's say you put it on your phone. There's a big button. You press the button. Now that spins up a server on ExpressVPN's network. It's called the trusted server because it runs only in RAM, and it doesn't have permission to access the hard drive. So no record of that can ever be saved. And then when you close the connection, it's gone out of RAM, and there is no trace of your visit. And by the way, third parties have audited this and say, yes, that's exactly how it works. But as if that weren't enough, they run a very special version of Debian that literally wipes the drive every reboot and starts over. And that's how committed ExpressVPN is to protecting your privacy. So easy to use. You fire up the app, you click a button, you're protected. Works everywhere you are, phones, laptops, tablets, and as I said, you can even put it on your router. That's a great way to keep your whole family secure. And because look, it's not a free one. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not a free one. I don't think you should use a free VPN because they're going to have to monetize somehow. And that usually means they just spy on you instead, right? With ExpressVPN, you're paying for it, and they take the money, less than $7 a month, and invest it in their infrastructure. That's how you can watch HD video over ExpressVPN. If you put it on your home router, no one will ever even know you're on a VPN. It's that fast. Rated #1 by top tech reviewers at CNET and, yes, The Verge. I think ExpressVPN is really the only serious choice for a VPN. Yeah, not free, but worth every penny. Secure your online data today. Visit expressvpn.com/twit. That's EXPRESS, VPN.com/twit. And to make this a little bit more enticing, an extra 3 months free when you buy the 1-year package. That brings the price down below $7. ExpressVPN.com/twit. Twit. Protect yourself, protect your family. This is the way to do it. It's the way believe me, I wouldn't travel anywhere without ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN.com/twit. We thank them so much for supporting This Week in Tech. Nobel Prizes have been awarded, and in 2 different categories, to AI scientists. Jeffrey Hinton, who is one of the AI doomers and the father of neural networks, won a Nobel Prize in physics. Jeffrey Hinton, along with his partner John Hopfield, created neural networks. This goes back to the 80s, the work they did in the 80s. They will share a $1.1 million award from the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. They created neural networks and studied neural networks in the 80s. It says, setting the stage for the current boom in artificial intelligence. It's funny, they did it in the 80s, but it wasn't until more recently that we had enough computing power that it really started to take off. For foundational discoveries and inventions that enable machine learning with artificial neural networks. Ironically, Jeffrey Hinton's one of the guys who says the machines are going to eat us, and watch out. Here they come.
Frankenstein's monster, hey?
Yeah. I will talk about Jan LeCun's response to that in just a second. There was a good article about him in the Wall Street Journal. Sorry, Sam?
Yeah, I was just going to say, most of the Nobel Prizes usually aren't awarded until many years or decades after the work that was done.
Right.
To see, what was the actual impact of it. That I think that's one of the things that they look at.
Which usually means winners are in their 70s or 80s. Mm-hmm. There was an exception in the Nobel Prize for Chemistry this year. Demis Hassabis, who is the founder of DeepMind, and not that old. I think he's a younger guy. He was a chess prodigy. And taught DeepMind to play chess, but he also taught it to do protein folding. John Jumper, another research scientist, both at Google, won Nobel Prizes for physics for their research. For chemistry for their research into proteins and protein folding. The Nobel Committee says Hassabis and Jumper developed an AI model to solve a 50-year-old problem predicting proteins' complex structures from their amino acid sequences. They share it with David Baker, professor at the University of Washington, who used that technology to build entirely new kinds of proteins, something the Academy said was, quote, an almost impossible feat. So Nobel Prize in Chemistry to, I don't think Demis Hassabis I don't think he's even over 40. So this is a rare one to some young people. But this was, that in a way it's notable because it was such an amazing breakthrough, this protein folding. Do you guys remember when you used to folding at home? You would, It was like a screensaver you'd put on your computer, and then you and everybody in the world would be doing protein folding in their spare cycles.
Yeah,
that
could
went
run
away
it on game consoles,
right,
and computers, and all kinds of devices.
That went away because of this. I'm sorry, Hassabis is 48. So he's still young. Relative. Yeah, that's young. Yeah. Yes, that's young.
I'm 47, so I'm going with
he's very young. It's so young.
Spring chicken.
You don't look 47 at all, by the way. That shocks me. You look like you're 28. How do you?
Zoom has good filters.
Oh, it's a Zoom thing. Okay. Can I get one of them Zoom filters for myself? He was a chess prodigy. Actually, there's a great picture of him with the former women's world champion Judith Polgar, who's wonderful, celebrating his Nobel Prize with, I think, hashtag, chess rules or something like that. It's really cool. He co-founded DeepMind in London in 2010. He's a fellow country person of yours, Jennifer. Google acquired them in 2014. DeepMind developed, of course, was it Deep Blue that beat Kasparov, and then what was it? Alpha Zero, which defeated one of the best players of Go, which was long thought to be unsolvable with AlphaFold. So AlphaFold is the protein folding. Anyway, that's quite cool. I don't know where Hassabis stands on AI doomerism.
It's interesting to see that the AI, sort of the recognition coming now, right? At this sort of crucial point where, yes, it's sort of shown its potential, but now what is that potential going to turn into? and some of this stuff, obviously, you know, it's creating the ability to unlock secrets that we thought were going to be impossible in terms of, you know, in the worlds of science, and, you know, being able to the compute combined with compute power and LLMs being able to solve problems that we've never thought we could solve. You know, ultimately AI could have a huge positive impact on humanity, but there's always also the dark side, as we say. It's like
by the way, I
TikTok.
stand corrected. Deep Blue was IBM. That's right. Deep fakes. Yeah. Deep Blue was IBM, and then it was AlphaGo, and then AlphaZero, which I think even better than Deep Blue. So, well, this is interesting because it's clear that there are valuable things that AI is already doing. I mean, that's what the Nobel Committee thinks, and I think the protein folding is a very good example. Jan LeCun, who is one of the, along with Hinton and Hasibas, is one of the great AI people. He's chief scientist at Meta, professor at NYU. He says, according to the Wall Street Journal this week, AI is dumber than a cat. Which, if I were you, Jennifer, I'd be a little bit offended.
My cats are very smart.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe dumber than a dog. I mean,
Well, that's a good point. I don't know, dumber or smarter. After all, who do we wait hand and foot on, the dog or the cat?
the cat. I know.
Maybe they're a little smarter.
I mean, this is an interesting area, sort of understanding the reasoning behind AI, right? That's what this is about, correct?
Yeah, they're all talking about how AI is reasoning now. In fact, LeCun says the fears about the technology's existential peril are BS. He says, excuse my French, but I don't think BS is French, but okay. He's a friend of Geoffrey Hinton. But he says today's AI models, while useful, are far from rivaling the intelligence of our pets, let alone us. When I ask whether, and this is the Wall Street Journal reporter, Christopher Mims, when I ask whether we should be afraid that AIs will soon grow so powerful they pose a hazard to us, he quips, "You're going to have to pardon my French, but that's complete BS." I actually like Jan LeCun. I think he's probably closer to the truth. We're talking a lot these days about these reasoning AIs. But at the same time, when you look at the so-called reasoning they're doing, it's not all that impressive. Let me see if I can.
No, yeah, we had a reporter at The Verge, Kylie Robinson, wrote a really interesting article today about this. Not today, last week. October 10th, what day is it? Yes. And, you know, understanding, you know, so we're talking about agents and how the agents, you know, is sort of the future. It's what AI companies are sort of moving towards now. And then, but understanding that the reasoning, the idea behind reasoning is causing a lot of these failures. Like, you know, what we hear so much about AI today is what it gets wrong. And, you know, there's so much publicity around the fails and the problems that we're seeing with AI, not so much publicity around what AI is actually achieving, like things that these Nobel Prizes
It is definitely doing some good things. But I think it's important to understand the limits of it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, and this is... Oh, go ahead, Jen.
No. You...
I was just going to say, you know, and this is one of the big challenges around automated driving, is a lot of companies have shifted to a more and more AI-centric approach to that software, you know, away from rules-based solutions. And that has some problems, especially from a safety perspective, in terms of trying to understand how the system is working and validating, you know, is it actually going to do what I want it to do? Because it starts to become less and less predictable when you do that. And a great example, a few weeks ago, a company called AMCI that does a lot of testing in the automotive industry. They do work for a bunch of different companies, as well as their own independent testing. They did a 1,000-mile test with a Tesla Model 3 with the latest generation of their FSD software. And they did, 4 different types of driving, city streets, highway driving, rural 2-lane roads, and mountain roads. And what they found was a lot of the time the system worked really, really well, but it also, for no apparent reason, in repeating the exact same scenario on the same roads and the same conditions, would do completely the wrong thing. And they found that over the course of 1,000 miles of driving, it did things that were so wrong that required a significant human intervention on average about every 13 miles.
See, that's the problem. If it drives 12 miles perfectly, but the last mile it drives you off a cliff, that's kind of a problem.
Just a small one.
Little problem, but a problem.
Hallucinating cars.
It also makes me wonder about the scalability of what people like Elon Musk are talking about. FSD is full self-driving. If a human has to, it's one thing if there's a driver, which there is in current Teslas, but when you get to these driverless autonomous vehicles, does that mean that there has to be a human at the home office that intervenes every 13 miles?
Well, we're seeing the reasoning I find fascinating, because this is something generative AI is becoming big in the smart home, right? This is what's going to bring the smart home to the next level to make it so that everyone, even the grumpy old men, love home automation.
Hey, are you talking to me or Sam? Because I've got the buttons.
Because it's going to make it easy, and it's going to hopefully bring a lot more value to home automation in the smart home. But what we've seen with hallucinations from AI and from things like the 13 miles is a great example, because your home is a similar issue. You cannot have one thing go wrong.
Right.
That could.
It's okay if the Roomba doesn't eat the pet 9 out of 10 times.
Right. Yeah. Or the cat litter robot, doesn't slice the cat's head off when it turns over, which unfortunately happened.
Well, and isn't there a problem with these robots with cat poop on the ground? Don't they just smear it across the floor?
Oh, the robot vacuums. Yeah. So now they're using AI to identify.
Oh, that looks like poop.
Pet accidents and go round them.
It took AI to do that?
Well, computer vision. They have cameras and they
this is what your colleague was writing about. Apple came out with a white paper this week that was very interesting, understanding the limitations of mathematical reasoning in large language models. And get this, they gave us some examples. What happens with these large language models is they're highly distractible. They can't really determine what's important and what's not important. Mm. So they gave them some tasks that you would probably find fairly easy to solve. But they found that these AIs just got completely confused by them. Let me see if I can. Here's an example. O1 Mini and Llama 3.8B failed at this. See, now don't look at the answer, kids. Let's see if you can answer this. Oliver
I hate these types of problems.
No, but here's the point. It sounds hard. It's not. It's only hard for an AI. Oliver picks kiwis over 3 days as follows. Friday, he picks 44 kiwis. Saturday, he picks 58 kiwis. Kiwi's a fruit, by the way. We're not talking about New Zealanders. Sunday.
Who knows?
He could have been picking up New Zealanders.
Okay.
We don't know. It's
Sunday,
it's ambiguous.
He picks up double the number he picked on Friday, which was 44, right? So it's 44 plus 58 plus 88. Double 44 is for the total number of kiwis. But here's the thing. That the AI can solve. But if you add one sentence, however, on Sunday, 5 of these kiwis were smaller than average. The AI goes, oh, that changes everything. And actually subtracts the 5 from the total to give the wrong answer. Both O1 Mini, the strawberry, the reasoning one, and Llama 3.8B did the same thing and took out those 5 kiwis that were smaller than average. This isn't an isolated example. They have many, many examples of this in the paper where it seems that these so-called reasoning LLMs don't really know what's important and what's not important. And actually, he says this exposes a critical flaw in LLM, this is from the paper, in LLM's ability to genuinely understand mathematical concepts and discern relevant information from problem solving. Adding seemingly relevant but ultimately inconsequential information to the logical reasoning of the problem led to performance drops of up to 65% across all state-of-the-art models. They all fell for it. And that's the problem right there. It might even be the problem with that self-driving car or the Roomba that ate the cat is that...
No Roombas have eaten cats, by the way. Just going to put that in there. Sorry. Just litter robots.
It's really a very... We'll talk about it on MacBreak Weekly because it's Apple research. And it's very interesting. I think this highlights what...
And the limitations that are really going to make this,
and this is something that is, should be, you're just parsing a word problem, which we all learn to do.
Should be easy
in grade school.
Yeah. But that's this is what's going to save us, though, isn't it? Right? We're always going to be one step ahead because we can always be smarter than the AI is the hope here. But we want to get the benefits out of the AI and what it can do, and taking out some of the grind that we haven't, we don't want to do every day. Some of, being able to help us, summarize emails, those kind of things, I think are fun, going to be useful. But ultimately, applying AI to significant problems in the world and finding solutions is going to be better than bringing AI to our daily lives. I feel like, do we really need this huge compute power to summarize our emails or to make our home smarter? I mean, it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun, but we do need to think quite carefully, I think, about it before we move forward too quickly. And it feels like a lot of companies are just rushing in.
Well, there's money.
All guns blazing.
Yeah.
And, how much of this is really going to benefit us in the long run? I think, and this is where legislation needs to come in. I do think we need some legislation around what is happening.
I'm sure
we need
of
to be
that.
way more selective.
I
think we need to be smart. The legislation.
Yes, but who is we? That's the problem.
Well, first of all, consumers of AI. Okay. So when we as journalists, when we talk about AI, the thing that confuses it is there are some genuinely useful things AI can do.
Right. Yes. Just like this. Yeah.
People make this projection that, well, if it's this good now, it's going to be this good in a year and this good in 2 years. And it doesn't work that way.
No.
And so they're making projections about the capabilities. This is another paragraph from the authors of that. We found no evidence of formal reasoning in language models. We found no evidence of formal reasoning in language models. Their behavior is better explained by sophisticated pattern matching. So fragile, in fact, that changing names can alter results by 10%. It's important. You don't need the state of California to write a law telling you that. You need to know it. That's all. And we as journalists need to tell people that and lower expectations. And the problem is you've got people like Elon Musk and Sam Altman saying, well, the good news is there'll be no poverty in 10 years. When that's complete BS. That's not true.
I feel like, though, it's the use cases, right? There are so many things that we could be using generative AI for. And I feel like we need to be that's where there needs to be some oversight. Let's not go down the roads that could lead us to.
Do you think the California state legislature is smart enough to say, well, use it for that, but don't use it for that?
Well, someone has to be smart.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the California state legislature or the Congress of the United States. Legislature. No, because that's not their job, and it shouldn't be their job. The scientists, I mean, maybe if you had some sort of liability law saying, hey, if your AI is used and does something really terrible,
then you're responsible for it.
Guess who's responsible? Not the AI.
Yeah.
You.
And that's the thing, and that's got to be made very clear, I think, and that's already started, but it needs to be clear that this is not a human. This is computers, just like cars, they're not responsible for what they do. There is someone behind the wheel, whether they're actually behind the wheel or not, that is responsible.
Whoever created it. Yeah, whoever created it needs to be liable for whatever it does wrong.
Yeah.
And certainly this is, in my sector in automotive, this has been one of the issues around assisted and automated driving systems. If you're going to automate something and you're going to take it out of the hands of a human driver, traditionally the human driver is the one that's liable when they make a mistake. If the software is now making those mistakes, the company that created that software and that put it on the road, they have to be liable for it. And
yes.
This is one of the things, I was asked by a reporter before the Tesla event on Thursday, what are the questions that that we should be looking for answers to from this event? And one that I specifically said, and that was not answered during the event, was, is Tesla finally going to accept responsibility for their self-driving system, when it does something wrong, and it does it pretty frequently, will Tesla be liable when that system causes the vehicle to crash or kill?
Are they trying to get out of that?
And they've never acknowledged it. And they've never specifically stated. One of the only companies that has said that that they will be actually most automakers have said that if they put automated driving systems on the road, they will be responsible for it and Waymo, for example, they're liable if
Tesla has in
crash.
past court cases blamed the drivers,
right? Because
it's not full self-driving too.
They specifically call it an assist system in all of their language,
not in the marketing language, just in the legal language.
Yeah,
right.
when you in the disclaimer, when you first engage it, it says you are the driver are responsible if anything goes wrong. And so by that definition, if the human is responsible, it's not a self-driving system.
Right. I want to be clear. I'm bullish on AI. I'm excited about what AI, I think you are too, Jennifer. I'm excited about what AI can do. I think it's really important we understand its limits and we don't overhype it. And this new study, I think, is really, really important because it underscores what's really going on. It's not reasoning. It's pattern matching.
And that really does make it so it simplifies it so nicely. I mean, AI, generative AI, and understanding all of this is very deep and complicated. But that really does, because I think there's this real fear amongst people that, and it's been overhyped. The fear has been overhyped specifically that AI is going to take over the world and remove humanity. I mean, this is what Hinton has very much.
He thinks we're going to have killer robots or something.
The AI is going to destroy humanity. Yeah. And so that's a big thing to put out there. And that's what you hear on the nightly news. That's what most people are getting the sort of feedback of, not what the benefits are and what the benefits could be. So there's just a real balance that needs to be done. And I'm not sure the companies are necessarily going to manage to do that well. I mean, Elon Musk has already demonstrated the overhyping of what his vehicles are going to be capable of. So I feel like there needs to be, the guardrails need to be there, and where those are going to come from right now, it's hard to see. Some companies are doing a good job of it and others aren't. And OpenAI in particular is an interesting, that's starting out as a nonprofit, and now we've suddenly realized that this might be better if we make some money out of it.
A lot of money out of it.
Look what we're going to make.
We raise $167 billion out of it.
And the companies that deploy AI need to be careful about this. And I'll credit my own employer here when a lot of this stuff started coming out last year. They sent out a notification to everybody and said, hey, look, you're not allowed to use any of this stuff, any of these AI tools for your work for the time being, because we're going to go through and evaluate what does this do, how does it work, and where can we use it responsibly. And there's still some pretty severe limits on what we're allowed to do with any AI stuff. A lot of that is based on making sure that any data that goes into it is protected, because of the clients that we have. We don't want data, proprietary data or private data to be shared, but also just understanding, which of these systems can work, because they know that they will ultimately be responsible if we use AI tools and they give the wrong results for the work that we're doing. And I think that every company needs to be much more circumspect in how they roll out AI, and not just throw Gen AI into everything they do, but to be very careful about how you do it, and really test it hard and make sure that it's actually providing a benefit, and that it's not causing more problems than it's solving.
And I think it's our responsibility as journalists who cover AI to help the American people, the world's people, understand what AI can and cannot do, the things it's useful for, the things it shouldn't be used for. And it's up to all the citizens of the world to learn this and not fall for the hype. It's too bad we have these hype monsters like Sam Altman and Elon Musk out there promoting this stuff. And it really is self-serving for people like Geoffrey Hinton, Nobel laureate now, Geoffrey Hinton, to say, oh, there's AI, they're good, because it kind of promotes the work they've done, but it promotes it beyond what it's going to be doing or capable of doing. I think it's really important that we spread that word. And I think I've been hesitant to do that only because I didn't really I haven't understood it enough. This is so new. We're still trying to grapple with it. But I think papers like this, Gary Marcus wrote a very good piece on Substack. LLMs don't do formal reasoning, and that's a huge problem that talks about this Apple piece. I think we need to take this to heart and understand it and start to put into our work, because this is our job to tell people about this stuff. Incidentally, we're going to be reading a really interesting book for Stacy's Book Club a week from Friday. It's called Service Model by an author named Tchaikovsky, who reads it, by the way, on Audible and does a great job. It's about service robots. And it's fascinating. It's told through the point of view of the service robot. And it's really about the service robots, humans trusting the service robots so much that they allowed them to destroy civilization. It's a very good book.
That sounds good.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
Have you read Clara and the Sun?
I love Clara and the Sun. What a beautiful
Yes.
book. That was another Stacy's Book Club pick.
Oh, was it? Darn it.
Yeah.
Have you watched Sunny on Apple TV Plus?
Not yet. What's that?
I can't watch that with my husband because he will just say, "I told you so."
Yeah, well, yeah.
How dare he be right? What's the point of Sunny? I don't know that one.
It's set in Japan.
It's about robots.
It involves robots
and AI
and AI and the
like an Alexa that comes to life in your home.
Is played by Rashida Jones.
Oh, I love her. Yeah,
he dies in the first episode, but the rest of the series is about her trying to find out what happened, and
Is it good?
I'm not gonna tell the whole story, but basically, AI is involved, and robots, and basically trying to create a service robot.
Wow.
And things go badly.
Clearly, I have to watch this before we do the book club on the 25th, because this is relevant to service model. So read the book and join us in the book club. If you're a member of Club Twit, we'll be doing it live. I would like to extend an invitation to you, Jennifer, if you want to join us and talk about it.
I'd love to spend any time I get to spend with Stacey is good time.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, I'll send you the information if you can do it.
Unfortunately,
Friday
October
afternoon.
25th is my husband's birthday, though.
Oh, the hell with him. He thinks robots are bad. I don't know. That's probably you should do that instead. Yeah. It's priorities. Yeah.
But if it's a different day, for sure.
Yeah. I almost want to move it just to make that work. Rashida Jones is pretty amazing. Quincy Jones' daughter, great actor, but also
really?
great director and producer. She's quite an impressive person. Yeah. Really neat. I will be watching Sunny later today.
Was it good, though, Sam?
Yeah, I mean it's not perfect. There's some flaws, but overall, I thought it was really interesting, and it's an interesting look at what's going on with AI and robotics and people, and people's really the core of it is humans' relationship with AI and robots, and what that ultimately means and what the potential effects of that are.
Light stuff.
Let's take a little break. You're watching This Week in Tech with Sam Abuelsamid, our car guy, and Jennifer Tuohy, who is now our everything person and our AI person.
And now I have a cat.
Yeah.
And has a cat. What, the dog turned into a cat?
Got replaced.
How did that happen? But that's not the cat that he wanted to eat.
This
Gus
is a
wanted to
different
eat.
cat. This is my first cat, yes, who
What's
now
her
has a new
name?
baby brother. This is Smokey.
Hi, Smokey. Perfect name for a smoky cat.
Yes.
Okay, Smokey. Our show today brought to you, so we have Jennifer, Sam, and Smokey. Okay, just I get this straight. Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter. We use this product. We love this product. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. According to research, a major challenge that many employers face is urgency, the pressure to hire quickly. That's hard, but I understand why it's there. It's always urgent for us. If somebody gives us their 2 weeks notice, we know we got to replace that person fast because otherwise we have to do the work, right? The problem is it's very time consuming to search for great candidates, to sort through applications. So now you have two jobs. You have this urgent need to fill this position, plus you've got the job of doing the work. That's why you really need a tool like ZipRecruiter. If you can relate to this, I have to ask you, have you ever tried ZipRecruiter? Fantastic. They have figured out the way to solve this exact problem. Turns out, when you put your posting on ZipRecruiter, a few things happen. First of all, they post it immediately to 100 plus job sites, plus social media. So you're casting instantly, with one click of the mouse, of a huge, wide net, which is great because the perfect person for that job probably is out there, but you don't know what job site they're on, what they're looking at. So this way, by casting that huge net, you're reaching out to more people. But then you may say, well, Leah, but that's not good because now my inbox is going to fill with applications. I'm going to get all these voice messages. No. That's the beauty of it. All the applications go into the ZipRecruiter interface, which makes it very easy to screen candidates. You can have yes, no questions, multiple choice. You can have essay, whatever you want to screen them, reject the ones that don't match, and then rank them based on their responses. It's very quick. It's all the resumes are pre-formatted, so they're easy to scan. But the best thing ZipRecruiter does is it uses its software to go out and look. They have more than 1 million resumes on file because people come to ZipRecruiter to find a job. They look at your job, they look at all the resumes, and they match them. And they will come to you, and this happens almost instantly. Within an hour, we would get 3 or 4 candidates who are highly qualified because they match our requirements. That's kind of a relief when you're going, oh, this is going to be so painful. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate. When I say quality, I mean somebody who's really qualified within the first day. For us, it's usually an hour or 2. Really, the best thing to do is try it. You could try it for free right now at our special address, ziprecruiter.com/twit. According to G2, ZipRecruiter is the hiring site employers prefer the most. And I'll back that up. How fast does ZipRecruiter's smart technology start showing your job to qualified candidates? Can you say instantly? I mean, it happens right away. And very quickly, they start saying, hey, this person would be good. Now, you invite them. By the way, I should say, you don't have to, they're not offering them a job. You are. So they say, here's 5 great candidates. You look at those, you say, I like these 2. By the way, there's a certain magic that happens when you reach out to them, invite them to apply. They get all excited. Wow, this company really wants me to work for them. So you jump ahead of all the other competition for the best candidates. It's another great thing about ZipRecruiter. I want you to try it. Relax. Let ZipRecruiter speed up your hiring. See for yourself. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/twit. You can try it for free right now. That's the same price as a genuine smile from a stranger, a picture-perfect sunset, or a cute dog running up to you and licking your hand. That's ziprecruiter.com/twit. They must have known Gus was going to be on the show today. ziprecruiter.com/twit. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. And there's Sam with his 2 cute Pembroke corgis over his shoulder. Aww. I want a dog so badly. Jennifer, did you have the dog first or the cats first?
At dogs first. So I had 2 dogs. I have Gus, who was a wirehead pointing Griffon, and then I also
a Griffon. That sounds. Is he in Gryffindor? That sounds very British.
It's actually Dutch.
A Dutch Griffon.
A Dutch Griffon. And then we also had a border terrier, little border terrier called Rinzy.
I love terriers.
And I had cats when I met my husband, and he said, I'm allergic to cats. Ooh. And then when we got married, I was like, I want to bring my cats over from England, and we're like, oh, it's be really hard for them. And, you know, we live in Idaho, they'd get eaten by eagles. So he talked me
He
out.
was really fighting a hard fight. He did not want those. I'm allergic. They're going to get eaten by eagles. Mm-hmm. They're going to suck the breath out of the babies. It's not good.
Yep. And then we got dog, a lovely dog, our first Griffon, an amazing breed. Highly recommend. He was a hunting dog, which was why, because my husband hunted like upland bird, like pheasant and quail. And anyway.
So they're pointers.
Pointers. As a pointer and a retriever. They were designed as the ultimate hunting dog by a gentleman.
They
called
point
Tuohy.
and retrieve. Oh, and they're so cute.
And they're very cute.
Oh my goodness.
And they're the best family dogs. So when we moved to Charleston, unfortunately, our first dog passed away, and we got the same breed again because they're just wonderful. And then a little bit later, my children really wanted a cat, and my husband was like, "No, I'm allergic, can't get one." And we're like, "Well, we'll get one that's an outdoor cat." And guess whose favorite person in the house is the cat?
Oh,
your husband.
Is he still
And
allergic?
Guess who went and had allergy tests? And guess who's not allergic to cats?
It was a
And
story.
guess what he is allergic to?
Griffins.
So it's like karma, dude. And now we went and got another cat, which he did not want. I actually literally sent I sent my son to the pet store to buy pet food for the cat, and he came home with a kitten.
Your household sounds like a lot of fun.
And we have
I have to
chickens, too.
say. Chickens? You have chickens?
We have chickens.
Oh, wow.
We used to have some backyard chickens, and our 2 generations ago, Corgi really coexisted very well with the hens in the backyard.
Oh,
And,
nice.
Yeah,
I don't want the
we made it
chickens,
clear-
but I do want the eggs. I guess you have to have the
eggs are
chickens
nice.
to get the eggs.
That's why we had the chickens, was for the
Yeah.
eggs. But the chickens were actually a lot of fun.
They are.
The thing we had to watch out for was the hawks, because
The hawks will get the chickens. They don't tend to get the cats. That was
No.
a bit of a myth.
But they will go after the chickens, and
They'll
they
go for
did
the
go
chickens.
after our hens on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
But the hawks never got any of them, but a raccoon did. So
I know that happened to us too. I now have a smart chicken coop though, and it has an AI-powered camera that sends me alerts when it
Ooh.
spots raccoons or possums.
And it's tax deductible. We'll get back to more with Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom after
I need one that
this.
can spot skunks.
Yeah, it does. It's
know what?
It's very impressive.
You don't need to spot skunks. You can smell them a mile away, Sam. Haven't you noticed?
Yeah, but by the time you smell them, it's too late.
It's too late.
You want to spot them before you can smell them.
The hardworking, wired-haired, pointing griffin, renowned as the supreme gun dog. It would be ironic if I, a non-hunter, non-gun owner, had the supreme gun dog.
Supreme gun dog.
Is known
They're the
for
best family dogs though.
Well, I like this harsh, low-shedding coat because they're
Right,
wired.
and they are hyperallergenic, so that's
They don't
probably
shed.
why my
I like
husband
that.
has managed
Unlike
to survive
corgis.
in a house with him. for
Corgis
that
shed
long.
like mofos. I was rubbing up against this corgi yesterday, and my black fleece was covered.
Yeah, there's clouds of fur around the house constantly.
Yeah.
So the
they
griffins
have
are known.
wire hair, so like human hair. So yeah, they don't shed really at all. And if you're allergic to dogs, they don't have that same.
I want one.
dander.
The
They're
AKC
great.
says they're known for an extremely harsh and bristly coat that gives them a natural, unkempt appearance.
They have
You
that.
can't
kind
brush
of,
them.
Well, you have to use a special brush, but they don't really need to. They're great dogs, and they have like beard and mustache. They have
Yes, it
very-
says a lavish mustache and eyebrows frame large, rounded eyes that gleam with a keen intelligence.
very smart. Not as smart as the cat though.
No, no dog is as smart as a cat. We know that. So, did you either of you watch the HBO documentary that came out a week ago on Bitcoin?
I did not.
And they claim to have unmasked Satoshi Nakamoto. You did not. Did you watch it?
I didn't. I just cancelled HBO because I was trying to cost cut, and then my daughter said, "But that means I can't watch John Oliver." So we just renewed.
John Oliver is educational. Yes,
he is.
Yes,
he's a little adult.
Very adult, but he has a posh English accent. So that's good.
So it comes off fine. So no, but I will be watching this now that I have resubscribed, because this is very interesting. I did read the Wired story, or a little bit of it.
I think it was quite interesting. By the way, is your accent? Do you have a received accent? It seems like you do. Did you go to a public school?
Yes, you mean an English public school, as in a private school in America?
Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
you did.
I did. Yes. I went to a private school that's public, although not. You have
the received.
One.
You have the received, quite posh received accent.
I have the Queen's English.
You do. You speak accent. The Queen's English.
And then come to tinged by 20 years in
my people,
America.
Oh no, the American hasn't seeped through at all.
No. I won't try my southern accent on you then. It's not as good as yours.
I come to my people at a time of great trouble. So Satoshi Nakamoto is the probable pseudonym of the person who created Bitcoin. Person or persons, we don't know, who created Bitcoin. And there is a lot of interest in who it is. And there are Bitcoin people who will say, well, it doesn't matter. Why do you need to know who invented it? It doesn't matter because Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and it's the technology and all that stuff. It does matter a little bit because it is thought that the person or persons who are Satoshi Nakamoto control more than 1 million Bitcoin, which at today's prices is more than $60 billion. And if Bitcoin goes to $1 million, as many of these Bitcoin bros say it will, he would be a trillionaire.
Quite a person.
One of the wealthiest person in the world. And should he cash this Bitcoin in, it would collapse the economy of Bitcoin. So I think it is kind of important who did this.
Quite important. Did you ever find your Bitcoin password, Leo?
Oh, you know about that.
Everybody knows about that, Leo.
I feel it's a forced savings account. But I have to say, if Bitcoin does get to $1 million, those 7.85 Bitcoin are going to be very itchy in there. I'm going to really want to open that wallet bad. I'm going to work on it. I am going to work on it but the thing is, if I had access to it, I would have sold it like when Bitcoin was $1,000. I said, I've got $8,000. I'm wealthy. And I wouldn't have held it all this time. I only held it because I had no choice. What's quantum?
Quantum computing.
Oh, yeah. No, look, I figure it's a retirement plan. By the time I need it,
you'll figure out how to get it.
There'll be a way to crack it. Yeah, I mean, it's just RSA encryption. It's not, impermeable. So they say, and by the way, the guy who did this, I think successfully unmasked Q of the QAnon conspiracy.
That documentary I did watch. That was very interesting.
It was good. Don't you feel like he got to the root of it?
Felt like it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is, in my opinion, very similar. And it's done in a similar way. The Colin Hoback, who is the documentarian who did this, ends the piece. Can I spoil it for you? Or should I not spoil it?
Spoil it for me. I don't know about we ask everyone else.
Spoiler alert. It ends in, so he talks about all the possibilities, right? He ends talking to somebody who is a pretty unlikely candidate. His name is Peter Todd. He was a precocious high school student. Oh, no, maybe he was a little older than that. Well, he was a precocious high school student when he first became known to the Bitcoin community, and would have been 22 when the Bitcoin paper was written. Claims not to know C++. Of course, Bitcoin code originally was C++. But there's some circumstantial evidence that makes, if you watch it, makes one think it might be him. And then what he does, this Colin Hoback is a very nice style. He got the two people who I would say are the most likely candidates together in a deserted factory in Czechia.
Wow, that's
and they're standing on a platform, and he's down there looking at them and accuses him Peter Todd of being Satoshi, which makes Peter Todd pretty squirrely. The evidence isn't conclusive, but I think, Jennifer, as a astute observer of human foibles, you might be able to watch this and go, guilty. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'd be very curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
Because I thought, oh, he nailed the guy. Furthermore, there was another guy, Adam Back, standing right behind him, who is widely considered to be the only person who really knows for sure who Satoshi Nakamoto is, because he had early conversations with him. Adam Back also created something right before Bitcoin called a hash coin, which was an early implementation of a digital cryptocurrency, and is the only person named in the Bitcoin paper. It specifically refers to Adam Back and Hashcoin. And Adam is standing there going...
Not a good poker face then.
I'm watching this and I think the two of them actually are Satoshi, that they did it hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because it needed Adam Back's kind of he mentored Peter Todd, although Peter Todd says, I mentored Adam Back. Peter Todd. Okay, and this is the problem. The Bitcoin community hates Peter Todd because he's kind of a troll, just like the QAnon guy was kind of a troll, right? Mm-hmm. And I think Cullen might have nailed it.
Might have got it. That's very. Yeah, I'm excited. I will watch this. Probably more interested in watching this than Sunny. I can get my husband to watch this.
Get him to watch. It's actually, if he's interested in Bitcoin, it's a pretty good primer in Bitcoin. It doesn't really focus on the negatives, just the potential. It doesn't really talk about the fact that it's going to cause climate change and, that it's being used by ransomware artists and Ponzi schemers, et cetera, et cetera. But, it's a good kind of synopsis of what's going on with Bitcoin. And
I love a good mystery too.
And and I'm very curious because you can't say definitively, oh yeah, that's it. But there's circumstantial evidence and he sure looked squirrely, and Adam Back's just really like, yep. There have been many who have claimed to have unmasked Satoshi. There is a real risk. I
feel like this story's come up a few times in the past.
Many times, remember. But Peter Todd points out there's a real risk to him if he is Satoshi Nakamoto, because kidnappers would love to get a hold of him and extort the Bitcoin. So he kind of has implied that he's destroyed it. Here's some more interesting evidence. I could destroy my wallet by just throwing it out. Steve Gibson destroyed 50 Bitcoin by erasing the hard drive. So there are ways to do it, but he just dumbly threw it out. But anyway, he regrets it now. That's 50 times 60,000. You do the math. But there is also an official way to burn Bitcoin in public, in a way, so on the blockchain, so people would know, that Bitcoin is no longer usable. Which, if Satoshi Nakamoto really cared about the Bitcoin economy and was willing to give up $1 trillion, he would do, right? Because that would reassure everybody, those original mined coins are no longer in play.
It stabilizes the system, yeah.
Peter Todd claims to have burned a lot of Bitcoin, but we don't know how much, and we don't know, and he didn't do it in public. So all of Satoshi's coin are theoretically still in play. If I were Peter Todd, I would immediately burn it in public, because otherwise the kidnappers are going after you. He's kind of disappeared. Plus, some of those original coin have moved lately. As soon as this story... before the documentary came out, but as soon as the promotional materials came out saying we've nailed it, some of those coins moved. So I don't know.
The plot thickens.
I like the story. I don't know. I keep bringing it up and nobody has anything to say because who knows? Who knows?
Mystery, though.
Your former nation could destroy the .io domain.
This is quite sad, isn't it?
Did you know about this?
Yeah, I caught this. They sold, or they divested them. The British government divested itself of ownership of an island that I didn't know it owned. We had lots of them, apparently.
This is the one last legacy of colonialism. One little last legacy. So apparently, since 1814, the United Kingdom... Chagos. I don't know how you say it.
Chagos.
Chagos. I don't know. The Chagos Islands, which are a territory in the Indian Ocean, they've controlled it. It's been a colony. Is that a colony? I guess it is. Since 1814. Mauritius, the island of Mauritius, disputes this. They say you stole it, as usual. You stole
a lot
it
of that in our history,
Yeah.
sadly.
It was settled by the French in the 1700s, so it's probably Chagos. It's the Chagos Islands. The French gave the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. Oh, sorry. And I'm sorry. The French gave Mauritius and the Chagos Islands to the British in 1814.
Mauritius is a great place.
Is it? Have you been to Mauritius?
Good vacation spot. No, but my friends go there all the time.
I want to go to Mauritius. I like the idea. Are there monkeys?
I don't know.
I think there are monkeys.
Sounds like a place that could have monkeys.
Anyway, it's in the Indian Ocean. .io, the .io domain is Indian Ocean.io. And it's associated with the Chagos Islands, which are not part of Mauritius. They are part of the Great Britain, except in 1965, the UK granted Mauritius its sovereignty, but they kept the Chagos Islands, making it the British Indian Ocean Territory, .io. Now, in a striking example of colonialism, they removed the Chagosian people so the U.S. could build a military base.
See, it's your fault.
It's our fault.
It's your fault.
Well, we're just good friends across the ocean. You know, it's hands across the ocean. More than 1,500 native Chagosians were displaced. By the way, the .io code is worth a lot of money. For instance, Anguilla, which has the .ai, is projected to make between $25 and $30 million a year from websites with the .ai domain. I bet .io is worth more than that. Right?
So what happens to it
Pretty
now?
common domain now.
So that's the question.
Yeah.
Companies like Google.io, Itch.io, Greenhouse.io, OpenSea, the NFT market is OpenSea.io. Many are .io.
Could just destroy the internet. It's done, over.
It could break the internet.
Up.
The folks who assign all this, it used to be ICANN, it's now IANA, the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, has a process for retiring country codes within 5 years. For instance, .su, this was the old Soviet Union. Because a lot of scammers started to use .su, they retired it. Same with .yu for Yugoslavia. They retired it, right? It remained operational for a while, but after about 5 years, they retire it. So we don't know what's going to, according to The Verge. Have you heard of them? According to The Verge, it's too, by the way, I should give you guys credit because about 90% of the stories we do are from The Verge. You guys,
we're pretty good. I'd say
pretty good, I must say. The Verge says,
I mean, the competition is, unfortunately,
dying.
People are dying off. It's.
I mean, they're
last
all.
survivors.
Anon-Tech went away. iMore just went away.
Yeah,
I feel so bad.
So sad.
But there's something about Vox. They're able to keep The Verge alive and well. Anyway,
I have no idea how. I have nothing to do with that side.
they still the checks don't bounce, right?
Right.
Okay, that's all you care about.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure I'd want to be in the tech journalism business right now. Oh, wait a minute, I am.
Hang on. And it's your fault I'm in this too, so.
It's my fault? Yeah. You were covering cars. You thought this would be a good move.
I wasn't actually covering cars. I just managed to get on that press trip. But
that's a good move.
Volvo wanted to go with the lifestyle with that car. That was their kind of, and I was working for a lifestyle magazine at the time. But yes, tech journalism is a tough world, but it's a fascinating world.
Isn't it?
I mean,
we're
look at
talking about
everything
important
we've
stuff.
covered this evening. It's like,
to me, it's always been, it's the toy store, but it's important.
Yeah.
So it's like the best of both worlds. You could do sports, which is the toy store, but not important. Or you could do technology, which is the toy store, but it is important. Like this AI thing is important.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about this .io thing. I don't know. The Verge says, for now, it's still too early to tell what will become of the .io domain, whether it will go through a transitional period like .yu, or if IANA will let the Chagosians, the poor old Chagosians, who are now on some other island, keep it. I think they should let them keep it.
They'll probably keep that country going for a long time.
Yeah.
It is interesting how fragile the foundations of this
Isn't
internet
it? It's all held
when
with
you think
string
about
and
that.
chewing gum.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's take one last break, and then a couple more stories, and then we will let you go because it's almost 3 hours. They warned you, right, Jennifer?
Well, no, but that's fine. I've listened to lots of twits. So
Nobody told you. You thought you'd be home in time for tea, but no.
I put a chicken in the oven, and my family's eating that. So not one of my chickens.
Was it Sally or Jennifer? Which do you name your chickens?
I don't, because we have the same breed, so they all look the same. I tried.
Plus, it's hard to eat something once you name it.
We don't eat ours though.
Oh, just the eggs.
Just the eggs. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to eat laying chickens.
They're not designed for that either. No, they don't taste
They're
good.
a little stringy and
yeah, they don't have a whole lot of meat on them.
Yeah, we have wild turkeys, and I learned that. But maybe if I get this Griffin hunting dog,
did you catch a wild turkey?
we could
Try to roast it.
catch them. Fetch.
You need to shoot those.
Go get the. Oh, you have to shoot them first. Oh, well,
you have to shoot the turkeys. Yeah,
I have to get a gun and then get a Griffin.
You should get a Griffin, but you can skip the hunting part. It's not mandatory.
Will they feel sad like they're not living up to their full potential?
So our Gus that we have here, so the one we had in Idaho hunted, but there's nothing you can't hunt really in South Carolina unless they certainly can't retrieve in the water. No, people do, but it's different kind of hunting, not the type that this dog was bred for.
It's kind of hunting you can go to jail for. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's like all private land, and it's a very different from out west, the hunting in the southeast.
You have quail, don't you, and things like that?
In some areas, but not in the low country. And you can't. And
you have much deer hunting?
There is deer hunting, but you don't deer hunt with dogs. Not this type of dog. Yeah. There are people that hunt with, but that's a whole different.
No, these are bird dogs. You need
exactly.
birds.
So you need water, and you can't go in the water here because we have.
Alligators will eat a griffin like that.
Yes. So it's not. Yeah. So he doesn't hunt, and he's never hunted, and he's wonderful.
He's never hunted.
No,
and he's perfectly content. He doesn't even know what he's missing.
Content. He sits on the couch. He's a real lap dog. I
want one.
He's the best.
Yeah,
he's gone away.
We don't have any sheep or cattle for our corgis to herd, but they seem content.
Do you think they'd hunt scrub jays? Because I hate those damn scrub jays. I would.
He hunts the moles. He hunts the moles in our backyard.
Moles? That's good. Yeah. Get rid of the moles. Don't like them either.
He digs and finds them, and Smokey grabs them because Smokey's much quicker than Gus.
Oh, it's teamwork.
It's teamwork. It's great to watch. When Smokey will start trying to dig with his tiny little paws, and then Gus will come in and just
hysterical.
Daisy, our late corgi, she caught at least 3 rabbits in our backyard that I'm aware of.
Oh, well, I have a rabbit too. I didn't mention that today.
What is going on in the Tuohy household?
I know. I always wanted a little farm, so I've just kind of created.
We had a rabbit, and then we moved to the country, and I thought, fly free, rabbit. So I let him out of the cage, and the next morning, all I found was a little puffy tail.
Oh no!
There was nothing left. They got him. I don't know what got him, but
I'm sad. That's
he wasn't prepared for the country life. He was a city rabbit.
Oh.
I know. Little Sam's Johnny Wallet was his
dogs
name.
Would have probably finished him off.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? Could have been. I think it was a hawk. We have a lot of hawks
most likely.
Here. Yeah. Our show today brought to you. Thank you for being here, folks. We hope you enjoy this discursive presentation, Jennifer. Sometimes when there's only 2 people, it's more discursive because it's just fun. We're just hanging out, chatting. It's so good to have you, Jennifer Pattison Tuohy. Is the Tuohy the fireman or the Pattison the fireman?
The Tuohy is my husband's name. Pattison is my maiden name.
Pattison's your maiden. Are you any relation to Robert Pattison?
I wish.
No. Okay.
He's got an N in his. He's Pattinson.
He's Pattinson. You're Pattison. Okay,
we do think we might be related to the Tuohys from The Blind Side, though.
Oh,
the movie.
Those guys, yes.
Who aren't very popular
Sandra Bullock
right
and company, yes.
We
not
think
so popular anymore.
Right, no. So, but distantly related because it's unusual spelling.
It is an unusual name.
It's OU, not UO.
And is he from that area? Because they were from Mississippi, right?
He's from He's from Nevada originally, but his father is from Canada, Burlington kind of area.
Okay.
I
know he's from Nevada because you pronounce it properly.
I do.
Which is probably very difficult for you as a British type person.
Drummed into my head.
Nevada, not
Don't
Nevada.
say Nevada.
Nevada.
Yes,
it's great to have you, Jennifer, and it's great to have you, Sam Abuelsamid. Yes. Oddly enough, you seem to be, which doesn't not normally what happens. So good. I'm glad you.
Oh, everybody's always happy to be here.
Not in the third hour. Usually that's when the teeth grinding begins. Our show today, last ad, so that's a good sign.
By the fourth hour, I'll have a different cat here.
Yeah, no. You might have new cats, dogs, new chickens, everything new. Our show today brought to you by Mint Mobile. I have to say, as a Mint Mobile customer, I am a big fan. And I often wonder why more people don't use Mint Mobile. I think probably because they don't believe it's as good, could possibly be as good a deal as it is. Or maybe they think, oh, I've got to jump through a lot of hoops. There's a lot of BS. I mean, I thought so when Mint Mobile said, you can get wireless for $15 a month when you buy a 3-month plan. I said, no. What, there's got to be a catch. There's some, upsell on this. Nope. Really, it's true. It really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month. You can even bring your phone number. That might be the hardest part, is getting the old company, the one that's charging you 10 times more, to leave you alone. I'm moving. I want to break up. You can move your phone number. It's required by the FCC. So you port your number over. Mint Mobile will send you a SIM so you can use your existing phone, which means you don't have to change anything. Or you can get a phone from Mint Mobile. That's what I did. I got a very nice iPhone SE for $15 a month, and then I got the service for $15 a month. What do you get for $15 a month? Unlimited nationwide talk and text plus 5G data on the nation's best 5G network. So if you have T-Mobile coverage where you are and you're paying $90, $100 a month for T-Mobile, get the same exact service for $15 a month. And by the way, right now, as an introductory plan, all of their data plans, including the unlimited plan, are $15 a month for the first 3 months. You get high-speed data, unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. Bring your own phone. They will send you the SIM for free, or you could do an eSIM. They use eSIMs as well. Make it the thing instant. Find out how easy it is to switch to the best, most affordable coverage there is in the country. Mint Mobile, 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. Now, to get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for $15 a month, you go to mintmobile.com/twit. Mintmobile.com/twit. I know it's hard to believe. It seems like, to me, it seems like if everybody knew that you only have to pay $15 a month for your cell phone, why would you do anything else? Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/twit. $45 upfront payment required. That's $15 per month for 3 months. New customers on the first 3-month plan only. Speeds are slower above 40 gigabytes on the unlimited plan, but that's a lot of data. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions do apply. Look, the best thing to do, go to Mint Mobile and find out more. Mintmobile.com/twit. We love them. I have to say, I love it, and I think everybody should use it. Mintmobile.com/twit. Are we done? We could be. Oh, well, do you like your Nintendo alarm clock? You did a story on that, Jennifer. Is it really cool?
Oh, I didn't get to do the story, unfortunately, because it was in New York. But my colleague Chris got to go check it out. And
the
it's
Alarmo.
very cute.
Yeah.
Well, I was excited about this because when a few weeks ago,
that. It's so cute.
I know. Look at
and
that.
a big snooze button. That's what I like.
I don't
does it
think
wake you
that
up with
actually
Mario's voice?
is the snooze button. I think it should be.
Yeah.
But from yes, it wakes you up with all different Nintendo.
Hey, I'm a Mario. Hey! That's not a good way to wake up. No.
There's lots of Nintendo-themed alarm sounds, so like Zelda and all sorts of You can choose from a huge array. But what's interesting about it, and what caught our eye before this launched actually, was it leaked. The FCC specs for the device leaked, and it has a UWB radio.
Oh, that is
Sorry,
interesting.
not UWB. Millimeter wave. Sorry, I'm jumping forward to my next story.
Yeah, we'll do that story next. Okay.
Millimeter wave sensor, which in the smart home is really fascinating, interesting technology. So it's a radar, basically. Radar
Why
sensor.
would you need that?
I know. So that was
Swipe
like,
your hand
what is
across it to
Nintendo
snooze it?
making? We were so excited that it was coming out with something really cool. And then it was like, an alarm clock. It's a me.
It's me, an alarm clock.
But
Hey, wake up! I'm here. Everybody, have a mushroom. Oh, look,
Very
it's a
fun.
Princess a Peach.
it's so cute. I mean, smart alarm clocks are pretty fun though. And Google has one that will track your sleep. So this one will also. So the UWB.
That's what the millimeter wave
millimeter
is
wave
to see your
Sorry,
movements.
it's late. Yes,
I know. I'm torturing
It
you.
is-
But
it
wait a
is-
minute. That giant button, what does it do?
It's apparently is not a snooze button,
That's just bad design.
but it looks like it should be.
It does colors.
Yes, the snooze. Well, the idea is the millimeter wave sensor will detect when you move, so you just wave your hand to snooze it, which is also what you can do with.
That's better than a button.
Right. So wave your hand, and then it will know when you've got out of bed and turn off. So
Do
in
you
theory,
remember-
don't actually have to touch it.
It should be really
it should have
hard.
been a
It should be
brick.
really hard.
There's been
Yeah.
a brick on the top.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
super
there-
cute, though. You could definitely see this in a lot of stockings this Christmas.
There was an alarm clock. You should get this, Benito. Dick DiBartolo talked about it on the Gizwiz that would run away from you. So, it would
to
go
chase it
off
around the
and it
house.
would roll off the table and roll around the room. So you'd have to chase it to get it to stop ringing. That's a good alarm clock.
We're starting to see a lot more use of millimeter wave radar
Millimeter wave, yeah.
for a lot of stuff, including.
Is that the thing they use at the airport so that?
No,
Oh, I thought that was a millimeter wave scanner.
I don't think so. But there's a bunch of vehicles out now that have millimeter wave radars in the cabin of the vehicle to detect if someone is still in the vehicle when you get out, when the driver gets out of the vehicle and closes the door.
Right. This is a big
Toyota
issue.
has the
the new-
Sienna minivan just
the
came
new
out with
Toyota
this
Sienna,
tech. Yeah.
And also
Because people will leave
the
children
Volvo.
in the back
For
seat
children,
and forget.
because
Yeah.
millimeter
Children or
wave is
animals.
Or
so
dogs, yeah.
and it's so precise that it could even detect a sleeping baby because from the
Under
chest
a blanket.
rise. Under a blanket. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so. And this is what I was
That's
like,
so cool.
it's an
That's really
alarm
cool.
clock. They have this amazing motion sensing technology for an alarm clock. I was like, come on, Nintendo, you could have come up with something
Hyundai
a
was
little
actually
more
the
exciting.
first one to do it, starting in 2000 or 2020, I should say, on the Genesis GV70, and now they have it on a bunch of their vehicles. So, if you leave somebody behind in the car or leave your pet in the car, it will send you an alert. First when you close the door, after a couple of seconds, it'll honk the horn to let you know, hey, you've left somebody behind. After about 30 seconds, it'll send a text message to your phone, and eventually it can get the Toyota system will eventually give you an automated call. And when I first saw it demoed a couple of years ago by Toyota, they also had it hooked up to Alexa, so it could put alerts up on your Fire TV in your house if you left somebody behind in the car. And
This must be a big problem they're solving, right? People must do this a lot.
yeah, it's what they call hot child syndrome.
That's not good.
There's been dozens of fatalities where a child is left because
terrible.
when a car is sitting in the sun, it's like a greenhouse.
Oh yeah,
And
it's really hot.
Even if the ambient temperature is only in the 70s, it can
That's why the
easily get up
Teslas-
over 100 degrees inside.
Tesla have a dog mode that air conditions while your dog's in, and then it puts up on the screen. It's okay. The dog is there's air conditioning. The dog is
and
fine.
that's one of the things you can do now with EVs is you can use that to automatically turn on
Right.
the air conditioning if you haven't turned it on.
Right. I have that.
that's
I do
good.
that. Now, I also have a smartphone and an Akara smart lock, and I can walk up to the lock and it will unlock the door for me.
So
is that what
UWB.
Samsung is doing with UWB? That's UWB, isn't it?
Well, that will be.
Well, Samsung doesn't have it yet, but
right
Apple's
now.
had this for a while, right?
Yes, and this is the same tech that's been used in cars. So the smart home and the smart car is.
I love my Apple Car Key.
Yes.
And my BMW.
So that's UWB.
The only problem is that if I park the BMW near the garage door, every time I walk by, it goes beep beep. it sees me and says, "You want to go? You want to go somewhere?" And that's a little annoying.
Let's go. Let's go for a drive.
Let's go for a drive.
So what's happened here, which is really interesting, is, well, in my space, is that Samsung. So Apple has had HomeKey for years now, which is NFC tap to unlock. So
it's NFC. It's not UWB.
Not UWB yet. NFC tap to unlock. So your phone has an NFC radio in, and your door lock, your Akara door lock, has NFC.
Right.
And you can tap and you can do your watch too, and it will unlock the door.
I love that though. That's so easy. I love that.
It's a great feature.
Is it
of the smart
secure?
door lock.
Should I worry about that?
Yes, because it's just local connection.
Right. You have to touch it.
Yeah, you have to be right there. You have to have, and so you can have it set so that you have to put a passcode into your phone or bio recognition. So
it does
facial
face,
fingerprint.
Yeah.
Or you can turn that off if you want to be quicker, but slightly less safe.
"Hey, it's me, Mario. Open the door." Can I do that?
That's coming.
I would love that.
Voice recognition will be here sooner than you expect.
Really? Oh,
yes.
Wow. That I would kind of worry about, because
there is a facial one right now too that scans your face. But what's happened. So Apple's had this for a while, but you can only use it with an iPhone. And you also have to have like an Apple Home hub in your house for it to work. For most, well, it gets complicated, but you need an iPhone. The Android has not had any sort of similar capability. And Samsung announced at its developers conference a week and a half ago that it is going to be compatible with a new standard called Alarmo, which is like Matter, but for smart door locks, which Matter is the new smart home standard.
Wait a minute. Don't smart door locks have Matter?
Yes, but this is outside
So we need a
home.
new standard?
So it's access control. So it's for everything. So cars, doors to your doors to your office. You could use it for apartments, like apartment buildings. So it's
ALIRO?
Which means access in Esperanto.
You know, I have to say, that's one thing I feel is missing from my life is more Esperanto.
More protocols or more Esperanto.
I know more Esperanto. I just want everything in Esperanto.
Of course, Leo, you remember the old line about, when there's 15 standards and a bunch of engineers get together to create one uniform standard, you end up with 16 standards.
16 standards, yes. The XTC comic, yes.
Yep.
But this will basically mean that Galaxy smartphones next year will have the same capability, similar to HomeKey, which is where you can tap your phone or watch to a door lock and it will unlock. And so this is becoming much broader because, as we said, it's been limited to HomeKey and NFC. And Alarmo is creating a new standard that will involve both NFC, Bluetooth, and UWB. And this is the technology that is in your BMW, Leo. And it's really precise location.
I love it. It's really amazing.
So
I had something that was supposed to be like it in my my Ford Mustang Mach-E, and it was terrible. It was awful.
That was using Bluetooth LE.
Yeah, and it was not good.
Bluetooth bad in smart home. Sorry,
Bluetooth bad. Yeah.
Bluetooth bad. Bluetooth is good for like a very simple like.
Are we
connection.
Talking Esperanto now?
UWB's taking it up a notch. You won't even have to tap. It will automatically unlock your door for you as you walk.
But know if you're headed its way, it will know exactly.
And because it's directional, it will. Yeah. So if you're walking around inside your house, it's not going to unlock your door. It's only as you walk towards your house with your smartphone or smartwatch, and it will be able to unlock your door for you automatically. Unfortunately, there are no door locks that are compatible with this standard yet, but Apple, Samsung, and Google are all working on Alarmo, just in the same way they were all working on Matter, along with all the major lock manufacturers, so like Assa Abloy, Schlage. all the
yeah.
and the chip manufacturers as well. So this will be the future of how we use.
I would love for my house to
locks.
be as easy to get into as my car.
And
I
it
would
will be
love it that
everywhere.
if I walk up to the door, it just opens up and like that.
Leo, do you remember at CES 2020 when we visited the CES or the NXP booth?
Oh,
NXP
yeah.
is one of the companies that makes UWB
The
chips.
UWB,
And,
yeah.
you know, the guy we met with there that we filmed the video with.
I do remember that,
He was
yeah.
walking around the booth, you know, in this crowded booth, and we could see exactly where he was on the screen. You were tracking him, and you know, as he walked up to us, you could see him on the screen.
Because it has
So it's
very
within
precise, and it's going to be really
within a couple
interesting.
of centimeters.
It's kind of radar,
Yeah.
right? Is it like radar?
No, it's not. It's
not.
radio frequency, but it's a wide band.
Ultra wide band, it stands for.
It's about typically between 5 and 6 gigahertz, I think,
Okay.
is the frequency.
So it's like a microwave oven.
It's a short distance.
It's very, very short distance.
Right.
Short local.
Yeah.
So again, in terms of security, you have to be
And
there and so it's going to be, it will replace in theory, and it could go beyond phones and watches, you know, any electronic wearable device. So say headphones or smart glasses, you know, could eventually be the key to your house, your car, your office, any place, you know, your gym even. I mean, this is very much in the future once the access control companies kind of get on board, but that's what it's moving towards. So it's going to be quite interesting. But the short term, Samsung Galaxy smartphone users will soon have an Apple Home Key like way of using smart door locks. And as you say, Leo, you've used it, and it's a great experience, I think, being able to do that rather than even just getting your key out or even a PIN code.
It does a fingerprint, and I have a PIN code.
Fingerprint is the other option.
There's all sorts of ways to do it, but who's the best door lock? Do you have an opinion?
I do. I published a very extensive guide on this recently. The smart door lock space is very interesting. There's a lot happening with Alarmo, and also it's one of the sort of fastest growing spaces in the smart home because, you know, it's a use case that everyone can kind of understand. Like, everyone's lost their keys. Everyone has been locked out of their house at some point or wants to let, you know, someone in to feed their cat. And it's, you know, it's a lot of access control, being able to control your smart front door is something that you don't necessarily need to have a whole smart home to do or to want to do, but it's very useful. So Yale is one of the
This is a podcast you did recently. Oh no, not recently.
No, that was 2022.
2 years ago. Oh, it'd be fun to listen to that and see how we've come
changed.
along.
I did do a Vergecast with about a week ago, all about smart locks. Sorry, I should have dropped that link in. But Yale has some really good options. They have all the different. There's so many different ways you can get into your door: fingerprint, home key, Z-Wave connectivity. They also have auto unlock. Currently, which isn't UWB, it uses a different technology that's not as reliable, but it's still pretty magical when it works. Because they bought August. Do you remember August, the smart lock?
Yeah.
So Yale and August are the same company essentially now. And so they took that technology, that auto unlock technology. So you can, again, it uses Bluetooth, GPS and Wi-Fi and an app. So, you know, many potential fail points as opposed to one direct radio communication, which is what we're going to get with UWB. But it does work if you have good cell service, Wi-Fi and GPS at your home, which I don't. So it doesn't work for me.
Oh.
But so Yale has
well,
the Yale Assure 2.
How are we talking to you then?
I have good Wi-Fi in my house.
Oh, you mean
but when
outside?
it's walking up to you see, the smart home has not really extended outside
That's
yet.
a good point. Most of the time, your Wi-Fi is enclosed in your house.
As soon as you get out of the house,
it doesn't go through the walls
you
very
lose.
well.
And we don't have good cell service where I am because there's a soccer field and they wanted to put a cell tower in, and all the soccer parents complained. So
not in my backfield, no siree. So is that why UWB is a good solution, because it doesn't require Wi-Fi?
Right. And it doesn't require any external radios, GPS. It's just direct. And then there's a lot. The Akara locks I really like. They're much less expensive. They're a good sort of entry-level smart lock, but also
that's
have
what I'm using.
really
right now.
interesting smart home connections. You know that you could have, if you got the Aqara video doorbell and the video door lock, as you approach your house, you could have your doorbell sing like a theme song for you. As
I need a theme song. That would be great. That would be
kind of fun.
Like maybe da 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 da.
And then Lisa can have her own.
So I have a very crazy front door because I have a Ring Elite doorbell, an Aqara lock, and a Ubiquiti AI camera.
Oh, wow.
Three.
Yeah.
And none of them talk to each other.
No, and none of them ever will. I'm sorry.
It's a bad design. And plus, it makes thieves go, we should break in here. This looks good.
So look at all this
Yeah, it
tech.
looks like it probably has a lot of cool stuff in there.
Juicy in here. The Vergecast podcast you just did October 1st. Your front door is the key
to the smart home.
To smart home. Key.
Yes.
Being the key word.
I must say, we were listening to that in the car. My wife was in the car with me, and nothing that was said in there convinced her that she wanted anything to do with any smart home stuff.
She's smart.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's smart. I think she's smart. I think the smart home seems like a great idea. I always think of Stacy's husband, Andrew, and the trials and tribulations he goes through just to turn on a light or to raise the blinds. It's a nightmare.
It's not in a great space right now, but there is a lot of potential.
Gotta get there. I have high hope. I have cassetta switches, Lutron
Those are
cassetta
very
switches
good.
everywhere. Mm-hmm. I literally have more than 100 Wi-Fi devices on my network.
Yeah, that's not good.
Oh,
so that's
what?
Well, that's the problem. When you have all of those devices on one network, it causes the like lag. And Cassata, though, uses its own bridge, which you probably
have those bridges all over the place.
No issues with your.
Yeah.
The smart home is disjointed right now.
No kidding.
But this is all changing with Matter and with Apple. And as I think we were going to briefly mention, Mark Gurman had a piece today.
Oh, I forgot about it. Did you read it?
I did. And
in the break, I said
news, but it's all he's bringing it all together. That Apple.
He says Apple's very interested in this space.
Very,
right?
very.
The problem is that
when they got rid of this
their
smart
standard is
car.
HomeKit, right?
Yeah. So they got rid of the smart car. And they're now moving to the smart home is basically what I've heard. Like all the engineers, everyone that was working on the car, now that all the resources are going to the home, which could eventually lead back to the car, as we've discussed.
Right.
Because it all works together, or should do at some point. But yes, they have HomeKit, which is proprietary and only works on Apple devices, and was very limited for the types of devices you could use because they had very strict privacy and security requirements that they did loosen up over the years, but it has meant that there are just not that many compatible Apple Home devices. It's now Apple Home. HomeKit is sort of the infrastructure, but Apple Home is the ecosystem. They've kind of rebranded it, and they're moving towards a new Home OS, which is what Gurman was reporting today. That's
was interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that TV OS, and because right now there isn't a home OS. Your HomePods and any devices you use in your smart home for Apple are on TV OS. It's kind of, or HomePod OS. It's sort of odd. So the idea is it's all going to come together as to one new Apple Home operating system, and then they're going to release finally, hopefully, a smart display, which we've been waiting for a long time. And that's what he's talked about. And I've written a piece about the many different, I'll drop it in the chat, the many different rumors around what they're going to come out with, including a robot rotating arm that will have a screen that's going to cost over $1,000. And it's just I'm like, that's
and
just
I will buy 4 of them because I am a complete idiot.
But what's interesting is that Apple is helping push forward the smart home to be interoperable and universal, for their own reasons, which is to have more devices that work with HomeKit, with Apple Home. But they basically donated the infrastructure and the way that, their whole HomeKit ecosystem to Matter. And that's essentially what Matter was built on, with input from the other companies. So Matter is being built by Apple, Samsung, Amazon, Google, Lutron, Philips Hue, Signify, like every smart home company you can think of, and companies that are not in the smart home but that are in the home or related to the home, is working on building this new smart home connectivity interoperability protocol to hopefully make it so that any device you bring into your home will work with any other device and with any platform that you want to use. So Leo, you might be able to switch over from Apple Home if you didn't like it anymore and switch to Smart Things or switch to Google Home. They're just trying to make it less of a lock-in and a lot easier and hopefully work better. Because right now you have 3 very cool devices on your front door that all do really interesting things but do not talk to each other.
Yeah.
And if they all talk to each other, eventually you could have a point where, like, Ring has just come out with this video history search where you can search for specific activities. Like, I could search for my cat if he's gone missing. I can say,
you use your Ring doorbell to find your cat.
Right. And if you had the point where you have that type of intelligence in your doorbell, it could say, oh, look, here's an Amazon delivery driver, and it could unlock the door for the delivery driver. I mean, they have a system for that now, Amazon Key.
I use the Amazon Key feature, and they go into my garage.
But that's all using the cloud, and this could all be local. And this is one of the great things about Matter, is that it's all a completely local protocol. You can use the cloud. Companies can opt into using the cloud for certain elements and features and things like generative AI. You might want to be able to access more compute power, but it's all ultimately working locally on the edge in your home and not cloud dependent. As we've seen from earlier stories in this episode, like robots that connect to the cloud, there are some downsides to having your house connected to the internet.
No kidding.
So,
but that's where Apple really shines, is they are very privacy focused. Yeah.
So, and this should bring a lot more, and there already has a lot more devices work with Apple Home through Matter.
I hope so.
Now, we've seen more and more every day, and smart door locks will be the next one with Alarmo.
Open my.
What is that?
Isn't that cool? This is those
are your Hunter Douglas blinds.
Oh, you recognized it. Yes, it's my
Once
blinds.
it turned over.
I'm opening the windows right now. And,
very nice.
Let the sun shining. Jennifer Pattison, Tuohy. I just found out Tuohy is Esperanto for smart. Thank you so much for being here. Really great. I want to have you back and talk more about the home automation stuff. I think this is really interesting because really it feels like the companies have no incentive to work together. They like being a silo. And they want you to have to buy all Apple or all Samsung or all whatever.
Yes, but you're not. So now they need to make
it doesn't work.
This is the way to do it.
Yeah, it's a Tower of Babel. Everybody's going, and nothing works with anything.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
I could talk about it with you for a long time.
I noticed.
So anytime, happy to come back.
You're marvelous. Thank you, Jennifer. So glad you were here. You can read her stuff in The Verge. I bet you're glad that you don't work for Wirecutter now that Prime Days are twice a year. Oh, my God. Our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to all of the poor tech bloggers who had to cover the Amazon Prime Days on the 8th and 9th. I know that's a miserable time. But you can just relax now with your 18 different animals. Enjoy. And enjoy what's left of the chicken now that your teenagers have...
It's probably gone.
Ripped into it. That's right. Mr. Sam Abuelsamid, always a pleasure, Sam. I'm so glad you could be here with your corgis. You can listen to Sam's podcast at wheelbearings.media. And he's also, of course, an analyst for Guidehouse Insights. So if you're not yet a subscriber, if you want to know the latest, that's where to go. Thank you, Sam.
My pleasure. Always good to be here with you, Leo, and great to meet you, Jen, and spend some time chatting with you today.
It was a perfect show today because I think sometimes 3 people, if it's 3 smart,
that's why we have 3
2
people
smart
on
and one
Wheelbearings.
and me. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I like it. Works out very well. We do Twit Sundays, 2 to 5 p.m. roughly, 2 to 5:36.
It's 6:30. That's 8:30 in Charleston.
Yeah, I am so sorry. We do Twit every Sunday afternoon from 2 p.m. till, that's what they do at the bars, right? Till, ... You can. That's 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can watch us on 7 different streams. Of course, our club members get special access behind the velvet rope in our Club Twit Discord. Lots of great stuff in the club coming up. We're going to do a coffee show on Friday. Stacy's Book Club a week from Friday. The Micah's Creative Corner is coming up, where you can create something fun. Do your Lego or your knitting or your crocheting or whatever you like to do. Your pottery while with Micah. The club is a big way that we keep survive on the air. $7 a month, ad-free versions of all the shows, access to the Discord, access to those special events, and it really helps us out. So if you're not yet a club member, twit.tv/clubtwit. We'd love to have you in the club. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show, of course, available at the website, twit.tv/. Well, it's a long URL. Just go to twit.tv and click the This Week in Tech. That's probably the easiest thing to do. When you're there, you will see a link to the YouTube channel that is all the This Week in Tech video shows. Not all 1001, because we weren't always video, but a good number. You can also subscribe. That way you'll get it automatically. It's nice to have it, for your Monday morning commute. Just look in your favorite podcast climate for This Week in Tech and subscribe. We love it when you do that. Thanks for being here, everybody. We made it to 1001, 1002 next week. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Sam. We'll see y'all next week on Twit. Another Twit is in the can. Bye-bye.
Amazing.